everyone. Michael J. Nelson here. This is 372 pages. We'll never get back. Connor Listoka joins me to launch a new book. Oh boy, how excited are you by this?
I'm very excited. I think our listeners are too, just based on the sheer amount of dumb sentences and fan fictions we received based on Ugly Love by Coho.
An author who, Stephen King, go to hell. You don't have a tenth of the fan base of this woman.
Oh, I think Stephen King is sort of just like, at her door, hat in hand, just begging for a crumb of shelf space to, move his latest book about Holly or whatever the latest fixation he has is. But Colleen Hoover is just in this on this throne of doling out literary favors, and we are experiencing the talents and instincts that got her there in these first 8 chapters of Ugly Love.
Is it? I've seen where bands sometimes, if you ever watch a documentary on a band, and all of a sudden they're just like, I don't know, man. They put out
which we know
album.
you like to do. It's
yes, band documentaries, but music not so much. But when they suddenly realize, like, oh, we're famous. We're doing this thing now, where we're going on tour for 4 years or something, and we won't see our families. And okay, gotcha. But you don't know that. I wonder what it's like for an author when, like, Ugly Love is selling like crazy. Oh boy, you're the biggest author in the world. Like, really? From this? And then all of a sudden you turn around and then you just become a person who's like, kill that man. And like, of course, Your Majesty.
Stephen King? Hey, he's just asking you for a favor.
Yeah, he just wants a little shelf space. Come on, man.
Yeah, I guess it could be sort of like, Hanson Mbop, where you're like, this? Really? Like, this has been dominating the airwaves? Or, walking in Memphis, just being like, sure, I tried, but it's this popular? And it's going to define the rest of my life? All right. But
yeah,
I also...
The bands who go in the studio and they're like, we just need one more song to make it an album, just because the length is right. Okay, how about this? And then they, and then it's, Yesterday or something. Oh, that's the one that takes off. Okay.
I do think it could be like that for Colleen here, is sort of, we need you to write a book, and it needs to be done next week. Sure, bang it out. That's Ugly Love, and it is sold, been reviewed 2 million times on Goodreads. And I have questions about it, but we talked about, this is obviously a book that is probably not going to be one we go around recommending to friends and family, even though it might be entertaining to discuss. But has there been any good books in your life that is going to offset this as we venture into the Cohoverse?
Well, I did just I just flew. I flew out to Palm Springs, which I'm in Minneapolis. So that's, a lengthy-ish flight. And I always just bring a book that you're like, well, I should probably read that. Because then you have no choice, right? So I brought The Splendid and the Vile, Eric Larson. And I read that on the way out and the way back. It's about Churchill's days. It's pretty much narrowed down to 40 and 39 through early 41-ish. So pretty narrow part of the war. Just kind of him winning back his prime ministership and then like, oh, here's a war for you. How do you like this, apples? And so it's just kind of a day by day of his life. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's a good contrast. I mean, the events that happened there are, defined the rest of the world for decades to come.
Yes.
Consequential, I guess, is one way to describe them. And what we get in this book, I'm not sure if anything has really been that consequential yet.
I don't think we're going to. I don't think this person, even though there's flying in this, and there's a lot of it's about the Battle of Britain and everything, and and it's about the Germans had the tracking system for bombing, and they discovered that the British secret services discovered that they had it, and then they're like, how much do we let them know? And so they would set up these fake homing areas to I don't think that Miles in this book is going to get to that point where he discovers Even though he's in the aeronautics industry, which we'll get to, but I don't think it's going to get to that point.
The big reveal from that book that you texted me was when Eric Larson, revealed to everyone that Churchill did have the V, the ab V, that Miles also has in this book. That was surprising to me, just based on the pictures I had seen of him.
It is, yeah, pointing to that
party down below,
special place.
Well, I am reading. I'm not sure if it's good yet, but I've been reading 1Q84. Do you know that by Murakami? I think is the author, a Japanese author. Lauren read it years ago. It's one of those, books that's this thick, like Infinite Jest, but I'm reading it on the Kindle.
Sure.
And it's, it sort of it goes into weird alternate timelines. It's just starting to get weird, but a shockingly horny book. It is, like, Lauren recommended it to me, and so I was like, well, this is just going to be some nice fiction, and it's just like every chapter something happens that I was like, and she's like, I don't remember it being that horny, and I'm like, well, it's horny, it's quite horny, and the
octopus tentacles, come on, I mean,
Charles Kim is just sort of like, yeah, you and me, Murakami, we're the the titans of Asian fiction here. But it's compared to what these first chapters of what this book were like. This acclaimed, very literary guy. It's middle-aged man puts ugly love to shame so far. That, and I'm reading a book about Earl Weaver, who managed the Orioles in the 70s. So that's about on the same par as Eric Larson's Churchill books. So,
are you a multiple book reader?
I am. I've sort of have become that as of late.
I used to do that, and then people, occasionally see your book, like, what's up next to your bed there? And there'd be like 6 books. I'm like, you have a comedy from the 20s, you have Shakespeare, then you have a current religious book, and then you have, and it's just like, there's no rhyme or reason. Sorry.
Yeah, it's good to break things up. I mean, as long as you have the basic amounts of concentration to remember that the horny stuff is not in the Earl Weaver book. It's in the Murakami.
I've heard about him.
Yeah, him and Jim Palmer, those underwear ads that Jim Palmer posed for, they led to some things.
Put Burt Reynolds to
we can't
shame.
Be talking about horniness too much without venturing into ugly love.
Yes, this is our kicking this off, so we don't have to explain anything. We don't have to get you up to speed. We can march right into it, I believe.
I think so. Just once again, the most popular author on the planet who has not written a book for a couple years, but it was announced this week. I thought it was going to come out like this summer, but a new movie of hers is coming out next year, starring Anne Hathaway, and I forget who else was in it. But it's not based on this book. That would have been too good, but... this might be one of those low-tier, direct-to, like, Crackle movies based on ugly love. We'll see.
Anne Hathaway, I forget, do we hate her or we like her now? I forget. The pattern of Anne Hathaway has to be something that we chart on the internet. Well, and I don't know whether to hate her or love her.
Doing a Colleen Hoover movie, so far the track record is quite poor for the actresses involved in them, based on backlash and airing of dirty laundry. So... we'll see how it works for her.
Because I'm cycling wrong always on Taylor Swift. I'm like, I hate her. Like, what? We love her now. Oh, shoot. That must have been last year. I'm sorry.
Well, as soon as they collab, that will be the singularity. That'll be the end of pop culture is Colleen Hoover and Taylor doing the musical accompaniment album to a Colleen Hoover book. The
entire universe will hoover down the drain.
Gosh.
Thank you. All right. Chapter 1 is subtitled Tate, which is not I don't like the name, but
that's unfortunate.
It's an unfortunate name. It's like Tater. I don't know.
It doesn't work, and it's whatever, because I'm sure it's short for Tatum, which the most famous Tatum is Tatum O'Neal, right? So, but there's also just it's a not a fan. Yeah. But Tate is the main woman character of this book, and this is told from her perspective. And we get into some alternating chapters, but this first one starts with her getting told, "Someone stabbed you in the neck, young lady," which is I guess if you want to hook people and then immediately sort of disappoint them with the first sentence of the book. Like, that's a decent way to do it. It's, of course, not true. It's a guy referring to a birthmark below her ear. But I guess if you were just going to read that one sentence in the store and decide whether to buy the book, that's an intriguing first sentence.
I guess, but it's kind of like, if you're at a restaurant or something and the chef tries to, gives you a chef's bite of the best steak that he has. And then he's like, yeah, I'm just kidding. I'm not really going to give it to you.
For sure.
Damn it. I don't like this place anymore. That's what this is. But he immediately, it's your birthmark. And of course, and then this is, he goes on, my grandfather used to say the placement of a birthmark was the story of how a person lost the battle in their past life. I guess you got stabbed in the neck, but it was a quick death, though. And I just thought, I'm almost old enough to get away with this kind of crap. Almost, but I think most people would be like, oh, God, shut up, man. Get the hell away from me.
Yeah.
I guess you have to be really old, and then it'd be like, it's not worth it.
Yeah, I think you need some, like a bushy white mustache or something. This is like Wilford Brimley talk right here, coming from the 80-year-old Cap working the elevator here.
Yeah, I suppose.
But so his grandfather used to say this? This is something that was like coming up a lot? His grandfather mentioned, it's not, my grandfather once told me. It was, my grandfather used to say this. So it's like, did you start taking away Grandpa's keys the fourth time he mentions up someone's birthmarks or a story of how they lost a battle in their previous life?
The placement of a birthmark. Did he use the word placement, your grandfather? Well, whatever. Yeah, I don't like this character. I don't like the start of this book, but here we are. We're stuck with it.
So it's Cap, short for Captain. He's introduced. He says, I push the button for the elevator. I don't think there's an official title for my position, but I like to refer myself as a flight captain, considering I do send people as high as 20 stories in the air. I smile at his words, since my brother and father are both pilots. The bar for smiling in this type of book, based on what we read in the Mister too, is quite low. It's a vacuum cleaner with a face, or a 80-year-old man telling it looks like you got stabbed in the neck.
And also, I don't know, was it this job or like Walmart greeter, and he just couldn't, like, Cap, we can't pay you, but exposure for your blog. Cappy says, oh, well, I would like to get some eyes on that. I have thoughts about the other races. Captain, come on.
Captain, please, no.
Come on.
But better than Pappy says. Pappy Pariah says. We would not want to read that blog.
Yeah.
But if you moved into a building and they were like, here is the keys, here is the fobble that gets you into the exercise room. And, oh, by the way, there will be an 80-year-old man who sits outside the elevator, will want to press the button for you, and is going to talk your ear off every single time you come and go for the building. You would be like, well, I will be breaking this lease and eating the security deposit immediately.
So long, everyone. And also, wouldn't you go, an elevator operator? I think the last one retired in 1961, and that was like, he likes to do it, So he's pulling the big scissor switch. You want to go to the 20th floor? It just makes him so happy. So why do we still have an elevator operator? This is contemporary, right?
Yeah, and it's a modern San Francisco building. In San Diego, there would be guys sometimes that would do the pump the soap for you in the bathroom, or you could buy a single cigarette from them. One of the worst experiences as you turn around from using the bathroom and walk over to so. And
then with a whisk broom on your shoulder, like I'm wearing a sweatshirt, dude.
Yes.
Excuse me, sir. And then, holding out the hand, like, I don't have.
Yeah, right.
This is a cashless society. What are you doing?
And you know what was just in my hands, too, sir. Like, why are you. Whoa. But consider this, though. The 80-year-old man outside of the elevator who's going to talk to you every time you come and go. You forgot your wallet upstairs. So you have to come back and forth and do this conversation twice. He says things like, seems in my past life I was shot right in the ass and must have bled out. maybe you're reconsidering forfeiting your security deposit now. I don't know.
And also, this is one of those, like you meet an old guy and they say the same thing every time. This is in my life. I've had this, but this one, owner gave me a pity job to keep me busy till I died. He smiles to himself. Again, low bar for the smiles. What he didn't realize is that God gave me a lot of great things to accomplish in my life, and right now I'm so far behind I ain't ever gonna die. Yeah. Can I just have my deli meat, please? I don't need to hear this.
Please, barber, go back around. You are brandishing scissors in front of me as you tell the story, not cutting my hair. And you told it to me the last time.
Pause for laugh.
Right.
Let's workshop your saying. Also, it's too long, right? What he didn't realize was that God gave me a lot. I'm already asleep. I don't know what you're saying. You gotta make it pithy, man.
Oh, so this is the apartment that her brother lives in as a pilot. It is a high rise in San Francisco, and later on they sort of hand wave that away. But she has moved here. She has been on the road all day long from San Diego, and she's talking about how weary she's looking, and bags under her eyes, and rumpled clothes. She's been, stretching out from the car. She gets in the car elevator with a guy who just immediately starts cartoon wolfing on her.
Oh,
He's just
it's incredible.
perving out. Yeah. He grins at her. He's leering, and then he says, "I know exactly what's on his mind, considering he just slid his left hand into his pocket, the hand with the wedding ring on it." So. And he's just like looking down her, what little cleavage is peeking out of her shirt, while hiding the fact that he's married from her, which she picks up on. I think she's 22. She's well aware of this,
yes.
Of guys hiding that action. That would not have occurred to me as a 22-year-old. I don't think.
I met you in San Diego. We both lived there. Where do you think, I won't spend any time on this, where do you think she lived? Where was her apartment in San Diego? Was she on one of the beaches, or did she? She was going to medical school, right?
Well, she undergraduate. So
so it could have been anywhere.
Yeah, could have been out at State, like out the 8 maybe. But it could have been. She could have lived, right near me in Pacific Beach.
That's what I was thinking. She had a place near you.
Yeah, maybe that's where she met these horny guys that try to hide their wedding rings in their pockets. And so all that you could see that happening back where I lived.
When she talks about, by the way, how ugly she is, this is a trait of these bad books. Like, I can't believe it. I just threw my hair up into a bun with a pencil, and my eyes are. But she says, my eyes are usually as brown as my hazelnut hair. I don't know what color hazelnut is, by the way. Sure. Brownish, right? Kind of. Sure. But right now, they look 10 shades darker thanks to the bags under them. I don't like when that's lazy. Thanks to? Well, this is a negative, but whatever. Sure. You're being sarcastic to your own eye bags. Anyway. 10 shades dark. What is 10 shades? As you go to a paint store 50, and they go sure. Let's go down. Here's 10 shades darker. My eyes? Because of the bags under them?
I think it's going to be that kind of book, I'm afraid. Lauren hates one of her, as an editor, one of the things she hates most is the false range, which is like, our menu has everything from olives to, chicken a la king. She's like, that's not you can't, those things are not from one to the other. So yeah, 10 shades darker is not an actual range she's expecting you to understand. I was thinking about her because there are a bunch of things that come up in this book where it's like, gosh, I hate this more than anything. And then the next thing comes up and I go like, I hate this more than anything. Yes. I have some questions for the editor of this book coming up in the next chapter. So
yeah. Anyway, so 10 shades darker. I'm assuming because of the bags under her eyes, she looks like Daryl from The Walking Dead. Who always, you know what I'm talking about. He had kind of hazelnut hair, and he always seemed to have bags under his eyes. His eyes were kind of like, he was the redneck guy who he carried a crossbow. Wow. Anyway, that's that. I'm picturing Daryl when I picture her. So
Sure, and she's as weary looking. She's putting on chapstick, hoping to salvage my lips before they end up as weary looking as the rest of me. So it sounds like she could have just been someone who was living on the street in San Francisco, who's like wandered into here, just being like, ugh. But this guy on the thing is just like, ladies, essentially.
Yes.
And her strategy to deal with this is, he's like, where are you going? And she immediately is like, her alarm bells are going off. So in order for him to not learn where she's going to be living, she hits every floor button on the elevator like a child who, is just having some fun. Which, if I was in the elevator with the perv, the last thing I would want to do is delay getting off with him. And she has increased this time as she goes up to the 18th floor. But hey, she's weary. She probably wasn't making great decisions.
And then what is that like? Like every floor, then she doesn't get off? I mean, just press the next floor and then just get off.
Right, yes.
Don't press every button and then roll.
Yeah. I'll take the stairs. That's romantic comedy talk, right?
Yes.
So you're sort of in this, I think if you're a Colleen Hoover reader, you're like, oh, so is this the guy that she's going to spend the next, 19 chapters like, will they or won't they? And it does not appear that it's going to be the case with this guy.
No.
But then she meets the next guy. So he's a creep. He's leering at her. The next guy she meets is passed out on the floor of the hallway, leaning against the door to the apartment that her brother lives in that she's going to.
Yes. Corbin is her brother, I believe.
Yes.
Yes. Corbin. Isn't that an author's name too? Isn't there a Corbin?
I just was looking at rosters yesterday. There are 2 Corbins playing on the Arizona Diamondbacks. So there must have been something in the water. I don't know.
There is I won't read it all, but did you notice so it's going, like I said, like she said earlier, she said, I don't like to write prose. And that's pretty much, that becomes clear. But so it's all just this dialogue of everything, like, where are you going? You're new to the building? All of this.
Looks like you got stabbed in the ass.
So you're getting there, and then all of a sudden she realizes, well, I haven't really explained anyone. So just an exposition dump comes. As much as I hated it then, I would more than welcome it now. I had my fair share of relationships go wrong since high school. I lived with my most recent boyfriend for more than a year before we realized we wanted 2 separate things out of life. He wanted me home. I wanted a career. So now I'm here pursuing my master's degree in nursing and doing whatever I can to avoid relationships. Maybe living with Corbin won't be such a bad thing after all. Just like, here's the story. I don't know how to do it through dialogue. I don't know. So here's a big data dump for you.
Here's my Wikipedia page for this character on the Hoover Wiki.
Yes.
Wow. The other thing that she does is, I don't know if this is a thing, but it turns out everyone in this building, aside from Captain, is a pilot. Because her brother's like, hey, this guy she calls him up, this guy who's passed out in front of my door, if he's wearing a pilot's uniform, he probably lives in the building. The complex contracts with our airline. So my question was like, how is a 24-year-old pilot affording, San Francisco high-rise prices? And I guess the hand wave away is, they give us a sweet deal on them with our airline, like gets, company housing here.
Yes. Yes, as it happens, I'm pretty familiar with the life of a young pilot. Uh-huh. I don't think he lives in
San Francisco high rise with an elevator operator.
San Francisco high rise, yes, yeah, the exact same age. Oh. Anyway,
the guy is not wearing a pilot's uniform, but she can't help notice that his jeans and black T-shirt do fit him very nicely. So he's literally passed out, shit-faced drunk on the floor, very possibly. Urine stains will soon be spreading along his jeans that fit him so nicely. But this is the first sort of like, ooh la la moment for her. So
yeah, he's that.
Passing out drunk on the
yeah, he's the guy that
can do it for some ladies.
Trying to get beer at the, have you ever seen, there's like the cameras at a bodega and the guy's so drunk that he has to, keeps holding onto the door. and it's just like the tension of like, when is he going to fall and hit his head? But he keeps staying upright. That's this guy, only drunker than that. Already has hit his head against the door and is passed out.
So the drunk guy is literally blocking the door. Going to be hard for her to get in. And so she calls her brother Corbin, you get another biography entry, like you described in the first thing, saying that he always had issues with who I dated, and he was like a very fatherly figure in my life. He's 3 years older than her, and I thought that might mean that her father was not in the picture, but we learn later that he very much is.
Very much is, yes.
And we get this as she's going to have to lug the drunk guy out of the way, so she says to her brother, "No pockets, you're going in the bra." Corbin made a gagging sound as I pull the phone from my ear and shove it inside my bra. So he's a 25-year-old pilot going on 11. I thought that was amusing.
Yes, that was pretty gross. And like, my sister's bra.
So not that fatherly. He's quite brotherly as well.
And then, but it turns into a big...
Getting inside the apartment scene takes a while because he grabs her as she's trying to get inside, and then she realizes that she left her suitcase outside. So I don't think it's meant to be a Hallmarky kind of dogs getting their leashes entangled, but it sort of plays like an unfunny, not supposed to be funny version of that.
It goes on for a bit, and it's a bit, Mr. Beanie, like, oh no, now I open the door and she doesn't have the talent to make this. You're just kind of trying to picture it, but it's not funny, or it's not, it's just whatever.
Yeah.
But she says, like, oh, does he wake up or something? Where's the new neighbor? No, I'm not, but I'm your new neighbor. And from the looks of it, you're about to owe me at least 50 cups of sugar. Yes.
He does bring him inside, I think.
Yes.
And he like sort of slumps into the thing, and that I noted that as another meet cute kind of banter from a 22-year-old borrowing cups of sugar.
When's the last time that have you ever done that? Ever?
People might have borrowed an egg back in the day.
When I was a kid, my mom sent me to get an egg from the neighbor, and I was like, "What is this? Like, why would she give me an egg? Just go do it." Like, what? Go ask for some groceries? Could I get some figgy pudding while I'm at it? What is happening?
Ooh, I hope figgy pudding plays a role in their erotic misadventures later in the book. That would be quite the twist. Quite the twist. They do get some. They get some the semantics of the word groping as well, because he like grabbed her ankle as she was trying to get inside, and she's like, "Your neighbor groped me." He groped you? Well, grope might be a little strong. He did grab my ankle though. Like he groped me, Jerry. A grope? It wasn't a full grope.
Oh, that's groping. Was it unwelcome grabbing? Oh, that's groping. Oh.
I would say it was all unwelcome. And so she leaves him passed out in the middle of the floor. She even like maybe tilts him a bit so he won't choke on his own barf like Jimi Hendrix. But she goes to examine the rest of the apartment. She notes that there are 2 bedrooms. So I take the one that isn't Corbin's, demonstrating the keen critical thinking skills that have led her into the master's program as a nursing school. And she mentions that she had 3 more suitcases and 6 boxes of her stuff in the car. And so I thought this was going to lead to a like RIP your stuff, window broken and everything's gone, welcome to the big city kind of thing. But that didn't pay off. So I thought it was kind of odd. She leaves them there all night and gets them in the morning.
Suitcases outside. And then she does give this line, which a little bit puzzling. I guess I can see where it's going, but I take objection to it. His pain actually appears genuine and not just the result of an overconsumption of alcohol. Yes, overconsuming alcohol, famously known for causing pain. Isn't feel no pain an actual saying that comes from the overconsumption of alcohol? But
right. And even if it doesn't, it does not describe a 22-year-old's mindset on the thing. That sort of describes, as we've said many times in this book before, an alien who has gotten to Earth and has mastered about 80% of passing for human. His pain, the Earthling's pain appears genuine and not just the result of an overconsumption of the alcohol substance.
And his eyes are mere slits and bloodshot red. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that's 10 shades darker, 5 shades, because the slits implies bags in the eyes. So
true, yes.
I don't know. They probably went pretty dark red.
The reason that his eyes are so red like this is because his crying. He's like weeping on the thing and misidentifying her as Rachel. What is our hero's name here?
Miles is our hero. Rachel is the phantom from his past.
Yes, and Tate is the woman that he's talking to. So
yes. Tater,
drunk.
Miles, and Rachel.
He's drunk, crying on the floor, lamenting about Rachel, and she's sort of observing this sight. To which, I mean, dealing with someone that drunk, one of the worst experiences that anyone could deal with. Just annoying. They're not acting like human. They're not going to remember it. They're erratic. But she is like, For the first time, I notice a faint, jagged scar running down the side of his right jaw. I have the strange urge to touch it and run my finger down the length of it, but instead my hand reaches up to his hair. It's on the short side, a little longer on the top, and the perfect blend of brown and blonde. I stroke his hair, comforting it, even though he may not have deserved it. And that's when he soiled himself, right in the middle of the...
And then as her hand, just tenderly goes up to the scar on his face, he just turns and covers it in.
Yeah. Oh, God, he went to Chipotle at 1 a.m. when he was drunk.
Half of it is noodles. Oh, come on.
Oh, he drank Jaeger. I can smell it. Oh, that's awful. I think, and then the last sentence of the chapter, which I think could prove to be some sort of guiding ethos for this book, is whatever he did to Rachel, at least he loves her enough to regret it. And based on what we sort of learned about Colleen Hoover, which is that, relationships that are not necessarily characterized as healthy and maybe characterized as abusive, being mined for the romance in her books, seems like that could be like, Rachel, I just love you so much. Like, that's why I do these things.
Yeah, my first thought was, whatever he did to Rachel, I buried her in a shallow grave and covered her with quicklime. Rachel! Aww.
Yeah. Oh, that's how he loves her. He got the scar when his shovel hit a rock and it caught him in the thing as he was shoveling the last of the things. As she, reached her hand up, he buried her alive. But oh man, did he love her as he did that?
He loved her so much. Wow. Okay, that was chapter 1.
And that was one chapter of a book. And then it goes to chapter 2, subtitled Miles, the drunk guy on the floor, but 6 years earlier.
6 years earlier. Oh, I gotta say, I was crestfallen when I heard that.
How come?
I don't want to go 6 years back. I don't want to be here. I don't want to start. What, now we have to go back?
We have to find out how we got there.
Like I always say, when someone's making a boring speech and then they go like, I got 6 more points to make about that, which I'll get to in a minute. Like, God, I thought you were wrapping up.
Miles is a 24-year-old who's passed out on the floor of a San Francisco apartment. Don't you want to know how he got there? Don't you want to know what his high school, when he was even more of a dumbass and his frontal cortex was not formed yet? You don't want to know how that ended up?
Oh, God.
Because it's pretty good. Here we go. He's already in the principal's office of his high school because he had to deliver a letter there, and they're saying, can you now show this new student to her classroom? And he's lamenting that he's never gotten detention. My mother would have been proud to know that, although it leaves me kind of disappointed in myself. Detention is something every male in high school should accomplish at least once. I had the rest of my senior year to achieve it, though, so there's that to look forward to. And that sounds like the sort of thing that was like in a Maxim magazine when I would get that in high school. Yeah, you got to get detention at least once. You got to take a road trip, man. Like it's the guy's code to the road.
How to get detention the right way. Shots of hot guys, in detention. But then, so you're reading this, you're going, wow, this whatever this prose is, it's just like, oh, it's so, whatever she types is just, it's in the book, there's no, and then you're like, could it get any worse? Well, how'd you like to have some texts between two high school kids? Yes, please.
Yeah,
as I recall, Finnegan's Rainbow had that, Finnegan's Wake,
Finnegan's Wake,
the movie, right?
There could be that would be. You brought up Pride and Prejudice with zombies. Finnegan's Wake with texting and emojis could be the next big seller.
Yes, here it is. because I don't want you to miss this. In case you're not reading along, but please do.
Want to act it out?
Please, yes.
You can be. Who do you want to be? Miles or Ian?
Wait, mine's kind of cut off. Oh, because of the PDF. I have E and N is all I see. So that's what was puzzling me.
Nice.
So what does it actually say?
Me and Ian.
Okay, I'll be me.
Okay.
New girl enrolled today. Senior.
Is she hot?
Haven't seen her yet. About to walk her to class.
He hits his jewel, I'm implying.
Yeah.
Take a picture if she's hot.
Will do. BTW, how many times have you had detention this year?
Twice? Why? What'd you do? And then I assumed that he took a break from hitting his jewel and humped the air like the horny friend in a James Wynn movie.
Yes.
So there you go. That's what mid-30s Colleen Hoover thinks that high school boys texted like in 2014.
I assume she's right. I have no experience to either affirm or dismiss this. She could be right.
But then he meets Rachel, the person he's needs to escort to her Mr. Clayton's class, and we can get ahead of this. She's hot.
What?
Ian would be quite impressed, but strong butt here. She's so hot that the rest of the book, the chapters about Rachel, change the entire formatting of how the story is told. And it is, you talked about the editor beforehand, and we've talked about this before. How could you just not say, huge red X, absolutely not. You are not allowed to do this. This is going to be a best-selling book. I know you think it's clever. I know you think it's something, but you're not allowed to do this. We can't have it. Because it starts to be, these Miles chapters when he's talking about Rachel are now center justified. And words start to be, carriage returns start to be hit willy-nilly, it seems like.
It puts me in mind of years ago I did when I used to write humorous pieces, there could be nothing more boring than saying, what do you do for a living? I write humorous pieces.
Well, you could make content. Sure. That's,
Yeah, content. But it closes off all conversation after that. Oh, okay. I'm done with you. You're obviously boring. But I wrote out once, I led up to it, and it wrote out the lyrics to, what is it? Footloose. I wrote out the lyrics to it. And at one point he just goes, everybody cut, 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 Footloose. And I wrote it out, and of course it's not fair to do that. But this is prose, and I'm just going to read you a part here before it centers and justifies center. Here we go. Rachel, period, carriage return. Rachel, period, carriage return. Rachel, comma, Rachel, comma, Rachel, period. Are you angry?
I'm quite angry, yes.
I'm angry.
I get angrier the more I read, because the next part after that is when it goes center justified, and it says, she's like poetry, period, carriage return. Like prose and love letters and lyrics, cascading down, carriage return, the center of a page. Each word of that had its own line, then new line, Rachel, 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 in italics. So it's like it's written by William Carlos Williams' loser brother, Vinnie Carlos Williams or something, you know? I have eaten the plums, bro. They were so sweet, dude. I know you were saving them for when you were hungover, brah, but I couldn't do it.
E.E. Cummings looks at it and goes, really? You going with that formatting? Ooh, I would not do that. That is terrible.
I had a fiction writing class in college where the TA, grad student teaching it. I will admit this. I wrote a story that it started, and then at the very end, you realize that the last line set up the first line of it.
Whoa.
Yeah, and she essentially was the big red X, being like, I would strongly advise not using this amateur Fiction 101 gimmick in this story. And I was like, I'm doing it. I think it's great. So I guess
think
that's
my
sort of
experience in life leads me to believe that no one's ever done this before, and that I've done it as good as anyone ever has or will do.
There was a scene in it where they played, some people played Mario Party, and someone passed out like Miles did in the middle of the game. So,
oh dear.
correct.
So then this center justified text just goes on and on. Just picture a lot of Rachels in it, and a lot of italicized. I couldn't. Well, here's one. I'm gonna fall in love with you, Rachel.
Yeah.
Okay. Her smile. She nods. She sings. She's whatever. It's.
I'm staring at her because she hasn't spoken yet, but her nod is the nicest thing a girl has ever said to me. Again, that my Fiction 101 TA, like, yeah, we're going to read some of these out loud in class, and I do not want you to have to say these words to your fellow students because they will not respect you anymore.
And keep in mind, this is just some a high school douchebag who just was texting his friend about how hot she is and then tucked his phone in his pocket. This is not some Latin lover, with a guitar, like, and his shirt down and, a rose in his mouth, like, hello, who are you, Rachel? How good to see you.
Yes, the only thing we've been given about this character is that, well, he was drunk in the future, but then he is interacting with Ian, who very much seems like the stereotypical Maxim reader, like, kind of guy.
Yeah. I own a katana. All right.
Yes. But here we go. Speaking of guys who might do that, this had to have put you in mind of something, and I'm sure it's not a coincidence, but I ask her where she's from, and she tells me Arizona? Phoenix?
Oh. I have just one question for you.
Yes, please.
How you liking the rain here, girl?
Yes, he could have done the little sprinkles. That's what this guy is capable of doing. I think.
Yeah.
I think Mike was that guy. So I don't know. A nod to that, to moving somewhere from Arizona. I don't know. Possibly.
I think it has to be, right? Given her pedigree, I mean, it has to be.
Yeah. How about this for 17-year-old bro, katana owning bro, poster of Shannon Elizabeth on his wall, bro. Is this something that fits with what that type of guy might notice in your mind? Her top lip is slightly thinner than her bottom lip. Mm-hmm. Right? That's where a 17-year-old boy's eyes might be drawn to on this goddess who has walked in the door from Arizona.
Yeah, he doesn't. There's some coming up. There's some mouth stuff too, which is just like, wait. he doesn't have a good grasp of like how to appreciate a woman. I mean, this guy, Miles?
I do not think so.
No. Miles is somewhat obsessed with her facial features. I think especially her lips, but we'll get to that. Mm-hmm. I think that's coming up.
Her eyes.
Centered prose coming
Her
up.
eyes tell me she already knows she's mine. It's just a matter of time. So it's that kind of book, that sort of Edward Cullen-y of possessive and people falling in love despite them knowing better, but it just is. It's impossible to resist.
I when I was young, I read a lot of. I really liked Edgar Allan Poe, and
you memorized The Raven, right?
I memorized The Raven, and then I would just write poetry to girls,
Well.
in a notebook. But I wouldn't give it to them. You just write it, and then. But I feel like if someone found that, would it be embarrassing? Of course it would. But it wouldn't even be nearly as embarrassing as this stuff is.
Wow.
I'd still be like, well, that one's, that's 16-year-old me. Sure. And then the next one I'd be like, that's not too bad. I mean, that one's just, aping Poe there. So it gets pretty close. But this, I'm just like, oh my God.
Well, sure, we all know that, and it's a popular form of comedy show is that you read that poetry, you wrote as a 16-year-old,
Yeah.
and everyone in the audience has a laugh because everyone acknowledges that everyone wrote that kind of stuff. Everyone has something like that in their past. I don't think this is supposed to be embarrassing because it's supposed to be a book that sells millions of copies, and the reader reads and says, like, oh my God, like, what if I had a Miles in my life who would appreciate my asymmetrical lips? Like, wouldn't that be incredible? So I don't think it's supposed to be when he calls her volcanic and says that you're gonna fall in love with you, Rachel, in italics. It's not supposed to be embarrassing.
And then we get to the end of the chapter. Again, this is all centered. Extremely, every time you read it, you're like, oh, I centered it again. She tells me her number. She's excited. Period, carriage return. Italicized. She's excited. Period, carriage return. I save her contact in my phone, comma, knowing it'll be there for a long, long time. Carriage return. And I'm going to use it. Period, carriage return. A lot. Period, carriage return. End of chapter.
My God. Vinnie Carlos Williams, you've done it again. You've gotten a girl's number. That's so much better than that one about the red wheelbarrow. It's so much more relatable.
That is just so awful.
Yeah, so that's the whole... this chapter ends with the guy getting the girl's phone. He also sent a picture of her to Ian and said, she's going to have all my babies.
Yeah, that was pretty gross.
And he also smells her and then tells her that she smells good. And she says thank you to the boy who just, she moved to a new town, her first day at school. She's already got people smelling her and telling she smells good. So that was my first indication. I guess the girl who was admiring the drunkard's facial features and stroking his hair wasn't acting normally, but that was another indication that people are just so consumed by the power of love and lust in these books that no one is going to act like a reasonable person.
I would like to challenge all of our listeners out there to the next time you're standing in the line at Trader Joe's or whatever, the grocery store, just the person in front of you, doesn't matter who it is, you have to smell them. Get close enough that they know that you're sniffing them and then say, you smell good. And just tell us how they react.
Maybe
I assume they'll say thank you. But...
they'll give you their number, maybe.
Yeah.
Do it when they're contractually obligated compliment of an item in your cart, being like, oh, I love this Trader Joe's brand Nutella. I like to put that on my waffles. You have to respond with, you smell really good. And then maybe be recording that for the Trader Joe's challenge on TikTok.
Oh, dear.
One last thing, as he says he has to push through the sound of his heart pounding on his ears. I pushed past the sheen of moisture developing on my palms, and so I don't. You might need that sheen of moisture a little later in this. I feel like, buddy. So maybe don't push past that. It's gonna benefit you, I'd say. So yeah, just a sweaty palmed dude smelling girls in the hallway, and she's entranced.
Oh, so that was, I'm glad we went back 6 years. 6 years? Yes.
It was important to sort of see how we got there. It is like the flashbacks in Lost, seeing how they got to the island, and his was smelling girls in the hallway. I think that was part of Sawyer's backstory. Chapter 3. So the pattern is one flashback, one normal thing of Tate goes Tate Miles at least for the 8 chapters we read today.
Yes.
Miles is now sober in the morning. He's woken up and he's pissed. He is berating her. She says he's intimidating. He's angry. He's watching me like I should be giving him an apology or explaining myself. Mike, it sounds like this love is getting kind of ugly. I don't know.
Oh boy. Yes, and this little confrontation leads me to my first Sonic challenge.
Oh boy.
Challenge.
We need to drop. Yeah, damn it. I did not identify any, so I'm eager to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, this is not this one I had to kind of dig it out. I don't think I'm forcing it because it is here.
Okay.
But I'll withhold what you have to say in this manner. I'll describe the manner in which it is received, and then I'll give you the words.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, that'll keep our listeners in suspense, too.
He says X, and then she says, I squeeze my eyes shut and try to drown out the smooth sound of his voice as it slides into my ears and makes its way through every nerve in my body, warming me in places this flimsy blanket failed to do all night.
Wow. Okay. So I'm thinking in the early days of Hulu, when it was like there was a guy who would be like, the following is presented with limited commercial interruption courtesy of Hulu. So that's what that sounds like to me, the old Hulu promo guy.
Okay, well, you choose what you want. Now you have the words. You know what it did to her.
I'm thinking, this is going to be like a Teddy Pendergrass lyric or something, being like, you gotta lay me down, baby, and I'll be on over there. I'll heat you up like a hot water bottle under your sheets in a sleeping bag, baby.
Tu étais incredible. That means you were incredible, baby. No, it is. The words are that you have to turn into the ultimate seduction is, where's my phone? All right. Go get him, Tiger.
Keep in mind, I'm incredibly hungover, blackout drunk, possibly peed my pants.
Slits for eyes, 10 shades darker.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Where's my phone?
little bit of Matthew McConaughey in there. That's not bad. Okay.
Wow, I could see how it's working for her, even though he's like barged into her bedroom and is standing over her.
Wow, that where's my phone? That just slid into my ears. I know that. Wow.
Wow. Well, the seductive tone is not, is unfortunately short-lived, because he then, she says, get out of here. But then the door opens again, flies open. What the hell is wrong with you? He yells. So this guy is an utter psycho. He's not apologetic for being in someone else's apartment drunk, someone he doesn't know, a younger woman. He's just completely angry because I think she like knocked his phone onto the ground or something. He also isn't certain whether they got busy last night because he was that drunk.
Yes. And his hand is injured?
Yeah, I think that when she was like, when he was groping her, she tried to push him back out and the door shut on his hand.
Yeah,
so
and that hilarious Mr. Bean scene that went on for days and days.
Yeah.
Page after page.
Mm-hmm.
Here's, this is, I hit one of my, I mentioned this earlier, one of my least favorite writer things.
Okay. I
lie down and pull the covers over my head. I win. Have I mentioned I'm not much of a morning person? Oh, God.
Have you mentioned it? I don't know. You're telling the story. We've spent 1 1/10 of a chapter with you.
Yeah, you haven't mentioned that. And the fact that you say it in that way, like, just irritates me more.
How about this? This is when I first realized it was going to be a long book. This is her describing the angry drunk man who's looming over her bed. They're the clearest blue eyes I've ever seen. Not at all the heavy-lidded, bloodshot eyes from last night. His eyes are so light blue, they're almost colorless. I continued to stare at them, half expecting to see waves if I looked closely enough. I'd say they were as clear blue as the waters of the Caribbean, but I've never actually been to the Caribbean, so I wouldn't know.
That's exactly what I had written down is like, oh, this is my least favorite thing. And then I got to that and I'm like, oh, no, this is my least favorite thing.
I mean, you could compare things to something that you've certainly have the baseline of what you expect those to be. You've seen a Royal Caribbean Cruise Line ad where they play up how blue the waters are. So,
and then you're reeling from those two things. Like, oh boy, we're gonna get these.
Took a long walk, had a cigarette.
Okay, let's get back to reading this book that has sold more copies than anything I'll ever do in my entire life combined by 1,000. Okay. Miles is rooting around, I guess. And this is from her we're in her chapter, as you recall. I don't like that. I don't like comfortable Miles. Carrot's return. Comfortable Miles opens another cabinet and takes out a bottle of aspirin. Oh, God. Okay. Look, this is not Red Badge of Courage. You don't get to, like, I don't know his name, and, so I'm going to call him this, like, no, you're not Stephen Crane.
Little cutesy. So Miles is getting the aspirin for his hangover. Her brother Corbin has come back, too, from his presumably overnight flight. So he's back in the picture now.
Yes.
And he's being like, rough night, bro. But this is comparing Miles's eyes to the Caribbean that she hasn't seen seems normal and poetic by this next deranged sentence, which is talking about her brother. Our hair is the same rich hue of brown. No telling which shades of degree. But our facial features are nothing alike, specifically our eyes. Mom used to tell us that if we put our eyes together, they would look just like a tree. Which, again, it's sort of like Captain's dad, who used to say, or his grandfather, Mom used to say this more than once. She didn't just tell it once, and then we sort of started to think she was slipping. No, she used to tell us, your eyes would look like a tree if you put them together. Mom, please.
His were and I was like, wait a minute. That, by the way, that put me in mind of something that I'll get back to.
Okay.
His were as green as the leaves, and mine were as brown as the trunk. So a specific tree, because some trees don't have brown trunks.
But yeah, most are. Yeah, grayish.
Whatever.
Child's drawing of a tree.
It reminded me of if you put our eyes together, and then like, yes, where's this going? Reminded me of Sylvester Stallone in Over the Top, and he says on camera like, and then when I turn my hat around, I feel like yes. What do you feel like? I feel like a truck.
Oh, okay.
Wait a minute.
In right now? Okay.
My mom used to tell me if you turn your hat around, you're like a truck.
Maybe that's Miles' voice that's crawling into bed with her and snuggling up under the covers.
Where's my phone?
Your eyes are like a tree. Get out of my apartment. So, again, they are... now all three of them in the thing. Her luggage is in the car downstairs, so her brother's like, bro, I know you're hurting right now, bro. You tied one on last night, but we got to go down there and get the luggage, man. And he's not happy about this. But she is still somehow entranced by this hungover, smelly pilot that's in this room with her.
Yeah, and we only know this because she says this explicitly, like, oh, I want to touch his scar, and but there's nothing about, when you watch an old movie and there's a meet cute and like an old actor, he's like, I mean, he's not of our age, but he's charming her, I guess. Like, I hate you, like you really like him, I can tell. But in this case, it's just like he is really just a piece of crap. There's no indication. Except for her saying, I just want to jump this guy. Like, he says, where's my phone? And I'm just like melting. Like
those eyes, that stare. we do get several, I think she says, for some reason, I find myself, it's like, it's going to be that kind of book. Just, I'm not telling, but for some reason, it's going to carry a lot of weight for me as we go down this road. This is another one. As soon as, they're going to get his stuff, and so Miles is joining them in the elevator. As soon as he comes into view, I lose the war. The war I didn't even know I was fighting.
and this is where, this is one of the things, okay, now it's to my fourth most hated thing that a writer does. The strength in his bone structure contrasts with the soft, inviting appeal of his lips. His hair, I can't decide if it wants to be brown or blonde or wavy or straight. His casual posture is at war with the fierceness I've seen in his eyes. Those aren't contrasts. This is like that stupid interview question, what's your worst trait? Well, sure. I work too hard, and I'm too dedicated.
The muscularness of his biceps contrasts with the,
strongly with
his lips.
Yeah. Come on.
It also sounds sort of like he's describing Tookie de la Creme with his hair is doing what? You can't tell if it's wavy or straight. What the hell is going on?
Oh, it's like Sid's mustache. It's just, it's always moving.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to the pilot stuff later, but
yes.
He tries to reintroduce himself to her in the elevator. It says he steps forward and completely ignores unspoken elevator etiquette by stepping too close and holding out his hand. No matter whether that's clever or not, that only applies to strangers in an elevator. This guy is going down with you his name to move. You're in a group with him as social peers and friends right now. So there's no elevator etiquette when you're talking to someone you know.
But she does meet Cap again.
Yes.
Which leads to so far my favorite sentence in the book, which is, the bar is, again. Oh, his lips are mentioned again. But all drowned out by, so to speak, by this line. Cap turns away from me and begins shuffling in the direction of the lobby restrooms. I think I just pissed on myself, he mutters. Why isn't this book about Cap?
Exactly. It's 100%.
Come on.
Yes, it was.
These shallow idiots we have to dive into their life.
Yeah.
Ugly elevator operators, the title of the book. Come on.
Yeah, incontinent love with Cap. A little throuple with Cap would be incredible. I mean, he sees everything coming and going. You could have a rear window kind of thing with being like, I think that perv Dylan in the elevator is cheating on his wife from the way he puts his hand in his pocket. Oh, right, back to the bathroom.
Yes.
In the sequel, he finally caves and buys Depends, and that changes everything for him.
Yes,
Cap. Come on.
So obvious.
Well, they do. Her stuff was still in her car, but it says it takes 3 trips to get all my things up, not 2. 3 entire trips where Miles doesn't speak another word to me. He's deeply hungover. he's just holding it together not to barf on Cap as he's doing this. So I think he could be forgiven for not wanting to make small talk with his brother's sister.
Yes. There's one time. Have you ever been? I'm not often hungover, but once years ago, I remember I went to a cabin with a bunch of guys, and like there's just someone's pouring me shots or something, and the next morning we had to get up early and drive back home, and the drive is about 3.5 hours. So I'm just sitting in the seat with a guy, just like, should we talk? I don't know if you want to. Yeah, I don't care. We pull in and get he gets a Red Bull, which I've never had in my life.
Oh, man.
And he hands one to me. He's like, this will help.
Whew.
And I take the Red Bull, and it's just the wrong way.
Yes, the scent of that can be, quite
triggering.
triggering.
And then that was half an hour in. So then it was 3 more hours of just like, oh, boy. Cap, I don't want to hear that you just pissed yourself, man. I'm dealing with something over here. So anyway, that's the state. Is he's slammed a Red Bull and it went the wrong direction. It's supposed to like give you a little lift. It was like, nah, it sent me down into the trough.
Yeah, the times that you like, all right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to power through. I'm going to get breakfast at a diner, the first bite of something. Nah, that was a bad idea. Like this
went
made
the wrong way.
Feel worse. So but then again, an 80-year-old man is incontinent. So that's. Just in case you're unclear about like how that worked itself into the narrative of the book, because it does sound like we sort of just picked a sentence out of the blue. There's absolutely no lead up to that. He's just saying hello to them at the elevator, and then he doesn't look down at anything. There's no surprise. Nothing bursts through. Like they don't drop anything that makes a loud noise. He just like gets up and just like.
Unfortunately, the next chapter is called Miles and not Cap. And then 6 years earlier.
Yes. All these Miles chapters are back in the thing. And it starts with another text exchange, but unfortunately with Dad, not with Ian. So there's no lecherous GIFs or eggplant emojis, even the water emoji. So it's like we don't get any of that, unfortunately. But his dad is saying, you got to get home. It's time for a tough conversation. And it is about... Is
there really like something 6 years earlier that we have to go back to? Like we already saw him gushing over Rachel, and then you go back and it's like, oh, he's got a dad. Like, okay. I mean, I guess we all did most of us did when we were 17 or 18 or whatever.
Right. But, we talked about this before, is that we've read 8 chapters of this book, and not to get ahead of it, I'm trying to figure out what the hook is of this book. If she was going to pitch this to a executive, I don't know what it is yet. But this chapter provides the slightest nugget of something there, but it isn't the main hook. So I'm very curious, because Twilight is a girl falls in love with a vampire. Like, go ahead, print that book. 50 Shades is a girl falls in love with dominatrix guy. Go ahead, print that book. This does the love is kind of ugly. It doesn't seem like a winning formula to me. And for these romance novels, which I guess is sort of what this is, you can understand why just falling in love with a smoldering hunk of a pilot just doesn't get it done for people anymore, because there's nothing interesting there. That's why all the new books are like romantasy, where it's she's in love with the top half of the centaur, but she's in love with the bottom half, and they're conjoined elf twins. So like, what's going to happen? It's going to get freaky. Like people are just they're chasing a bigger high every time with these type of books, I guess. And I don't know what this is providing. I don't know why it's one of her less rated books, but I don't know why it's why this is what does it for people.
Yeah, she's in the meeting and like, oh, okay, so this Miles, tell me about this character. He's kind of a dipshit, kind of a dolt. Yeah. He texts his dad. Yeah, is there his dad? Is there some weird story? No. Does he have a friend? A friend? Yeah, he does. A friend is kind of a dipshit too.
Oh, they're not even interested in the same girl? No. That friend is only casually mentioned. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm not really. And his job. What is he? He's secretly a prince. Oh no! I don't know where you got that from. No, he's not. He did not lose his memory and move to a different place in a small town, and turns out he was the prince of a country in Europe. Yeah. No. He's low-tier pilot at Spirit Airlines.
He's working his way up to being a pilot at Spirit. He's doing cargo now for UPS. Oh, okay. Well, seems like a solid job for a young man. It is. It really is.
Sorry, he did lose his memory. Just for one night when he got so drunk and passed out in the hall of his apartment building.
Oh,
he's got the V.
He was in love with a fawn that transforms into a human during the day. No, he was in love with a high school girl.
Are people really writing those books now? Do I need to start doing that? Because I thought we were just doing things the old-fashioned way. But if you tell me that, he's in love with hot Mr. Tumnus, then we need to make it happen. Hotter.
Hot
I'm sorry,
Mr. Tumnus.
Out there. Yes, we acknowledge that he was hot.
I do have a friend who will send me guys cosplaying hot Mr. Tumnus is like just out of the blue every couple months. I'll just get the text notification. What is it? No,
Wow. Well, please loop us in the next time we get one of these. This is a recurring segment.
I certainly will. Okay.
Oh, all right. So Hot Mr. Tumnus is the next book we're reading, Hot Frosty, the sequel. But the big conversation that they need to have is evidently his mom has been dead for less than a year, and his dad is ready to move on. His dad is going to start dating again, and this is what he wanted to tell him.
And her name, Lisa.
Yeah.
I mean, did you immediately? It's kind of hard.
Yeah, if it turned out the hook was that this is the room from Denny's perspective, that would be incredible.
Now we know how old Denny is. He's fagged his age.
Yeah, but what does Johnny do? Well, he wanted to adopt Denny. And then he did. And so now I'm with Lisa. I liked it when he says that his dad's going to move on. It says, the house is too damn small to fit all my frustration and disappointment. So I immediately imagined that on one of those, in this house, signs out front. This house is too small to fit all our frustration and disappointment.
And so you're like, well, we escaped that, center justified text thing. That was a storm that we weathered, and we got through it together. No one liked it. No one was happy with it. Surely the editor was not happy with it. Yeah. Connor's TA was not happy. Put the big red X on it. Yeah. But, it's not going to happen. There it is again!
There it is again, because his dad invites Lisa over to meet his son. She brings with her daughter, Rachel. Uh-oh. His dad's dating her mom, and it says that they say, you know each other? Rachel doesn't nod. Neither do I. All of those are on their same line. Our disappointment melts to the floor and combines in a puddle of premature tears at our feet. Does the disappointment maybe cascade down a page like a crappy prose and style to look like a poem just by hitting enter at random spots? Does that?
I was going to ask you to just rate that metaphor. Our disappointment melts to the floor.
Oh, so it was a solid object.
And combines in a puddle of premature tears at our feet.
All right, so is it two separate disappointments meeting and combining in a floor? But then there's also a puddle of premature tears that those two things have to combine with?
What the T2000, was he liquid metal?
The T1000 in the thing.
T1000.
That's what it looks like.
Combined on the floor into the saddest.
Yeah. Come with me if you want a new stepsister. What are premature tears also? Like what? How does that
man,
work? How do you?
I'm not going to take a shot at that.
You've never preemptively cried about something?
No.
Like there was, bad news was going to come and you just sort of knew it, so you started crying before someone told you the bad news?
No, I guess if I was going to watch, like I think It's a Wonderful Life is one of those movies where it's like, oh, I'm going to, when I learn that George does it, oh, yeah. And then hey, we're going to watch It's a Wonderful Life. Oh, I don't think I want to because my premature tears fell to the ground and they melted into a puddle at my feet with another. Look, just forget it.
Yeah, when Uncle Billy is drunk, that's when my premature tears start to really fall. It's brother.
I'm okay. I'm all right.
But then it says, he's so disappointed because Rachel is the girl who will more than likely become my new stepsister, and he takes this to mean that their relationship is off, which, based on what I've seen, this is not necessarily an impediment. The internet will have you believe. In fact, it could be more of a, I don't know, it could be the fastest way to advance this relationship.
Sharing a car on the visit. I just don't see why that's a big deal. But he says, my father has been visiting. Oh, I'm sorry. I need to repeat it for everyone. My father visits Phoenix a lot, period, carriage return. My father has been visiting Phoenix a lot since before my mother died. Yeah. My father is a bastard. I just thought it was a line in Arrested Development. Job was making a tape about, one of them was running for like student council or something, and Steve Holt. Uh-huh. And he put out a hit tape on Steve. Oh. Steve Holt is a bastard. He doesn't even know who his real father is.
As another voice like that. Will Arnett has the type of voice that could be Miles's, I guess.
Where's my phone? Yeah. Michael. That's true.
Yes, and so he's introduced his potential future wife and her daughter, so he's bringing them in, and they are both in the poetry. The poetry has gotten sad, and so it's, I can't fall in love with you, Rachel. Her eyes are sad. My thoughts are sadder, and you can't fall in love with me. She slowly walks inside, avoiding my gaze as she watches her new line. Feet with each step. They're the saddest steps I've ever seen. New line. Taken. New line. I close the door. It's the saddest door I've ever had to close.
Oh, God.
I don't know, man. It sounds like you just don't want it enough. You can, reverse parent trap it, or, start to leave your dad's dirty laundry around, poison the well with his mom. This is on you at this point, or just power through it. This could be new levels in excitement. Or horny teens wouldn't let this get in the way.
I wanted to, if I was his bro, I'd just text him and go, new mother-in-law, huh? Picture if she's hot.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
Yeah, hot mom, hot daughter. That's again, this is, we can see how this plays out.
So the dad, though, just to be clear, he was visiting his future wife, Lisa, in Phoenix.
In Phoenix, where she was likened to Rain. It sounds like he was a cad. He was sort of, maybe if his mom was sick or something, he was, doing these business trips and met this woman.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. He is a bastard.
Well. That is the halfway point, and you know what that means.
Oh, God, I forgot. I'd have to do it.
Yes. This is quite the opportunity for real or fanfic, and I believe it's going to be a tricky one.
Oh, God.
So let's do it.
Yeah, because it's been pretty much a breeze up until now. So easy peasy. Fanfic.
All right, so this is Real or Fanfic, the segment brought to you by our beloved jackals over at patreon.com/372 pages. And they have only read 8 chapters or so of Colleen Hoover's Ugly Love, but have they mastered her voice? Have they mastered the art of hitting a carriage return after a seemingly insignificant moment in a poem? Well, let's see. So these are 5 excerpts of either future prose of Ugly Love or fanfic written by our listeners and in an attempt to trick you. And you'll have to identify each one. They could all be real, they could all be fanfic, or they could be a combination of the two. Number 1. We build the snowman together, our hands moving in sync. For a moment, it feels like being a kid again, before things mattered too much. The bell rings, lunch is over. Rachel dusts off her coat and pulls off her gloves. I stop breathing. Her fingers. I've seen them before. I always see them. They flex against the cold air, too long for her hands, too perfect for this world. She rubs them together for warmth, and something inside me unravels. I know these fingers better than my own. I watch them when she writes, when she fidgets with her sleeves, when she twirls the strap of her backpack. The first time I noticed them, she was asleep. Her door was unlocked. I don't know why I was there, only that I couldn't not be there. And when I saw her fingers resting on the pillow, soft and open, I knew they were perfect. She was perfect. And now I always notice. Rachel tucks her hands into her pockets, and I wish she hadn't. I wish I could tell her. I see them. I see everything. I follow her inside.
Good Lord.
Coming out hot!
Again, I just want you to say those last 3 lines to the person in front of you at the Trader Joe's line, and just say them and see what happens. All right.
What do you think?
Well, here's the deal. I mean, obviously somebody could have pulled it out of a future chapter because of the, once again, long, thin fingers.
Of course, it's a podcast trope.
But I'm going to say that they cleverly wrote it in, and so I'm going to say fanfic.
All right. Number 2. This isn't right. Rachel wants to leave me. For him, of all people? She can't mean that. Doesn't she know that after everything we've been through, she's still the center of my world? Center is center justified on its own line.
Yes.
No, I don't believe it. I must be making a mistake. She's too perfect to do this. Too perfect to let it end this way. Too perfect to cheat. I reread her letter. I don't want to believe it, but I have to. Everything that's been strange these past few months now makes sense. I have to accept it. I can't accept it. If I accept it, it will break me. I won't be able to go back to how I was before. I'll be, and this stops being center justified and is now right justified. Different, wrong, skewed out of joint. But that's the way I'll have to be from now on. So the text mirrors his thoughts. Do you get that?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow. Big red X from your TA. Yes. Do not do this.
Get out of my class.
Yes. I strongly urge you. I mean, you can turn it in. I will give you an F.
That's good, man. You don't understand.
Oh, it's Einstein flunked out of math school. Like, all right.
Yeah, right? Nope, this is not about that. You wrote a scene about a guy dancing on a table at a fraternity party.
I mean, I'm going to say fanfic.
Okay. 2 fanfics out of the gate. Number 3. Oh, there it is. Feels like we're on a stage, I say, still looking up at the light. He tilts his head back and joins my inspection of the odd lighting. The English patient, he says. I look at him questioningly. He gestures to the street lamp above our heads. If we were on a stage, it would probably be a production of The English Patient. He flicks his hand back and forth between us. We're already dressed the part, a nurse and a pilot. I mull over what he says, probably a little too much. I know he says he's the pilot, but if this really were a stage production of The English Patient, I think he would be the soldier rather than the pilot. The soldier is the character who's sexually involved with the nurse, not the pilot. But the pilot is the one with the secretive past. That movie is the reason I became a nurse, I say, looking at him with a straight face. He returns his hands to his pockets, shifting his gaze from the light overhead back to me. For real? My laugh escapes. No. Miles smiles. That rhymes.
Oh, boy. Oh, this is a tricky one because it's so stupid that I think it could be her. But
have you seen The English Patient?
I did. In between times where I was napping for quite a while. Boy. I don't know. I don't know if the age works out for The English Patient or making a joke about it.
I mean, it was a joke on Seinfeld back in the 90s.
Yeah,
so
but given her sense of humor, maybe that's where she goes.
Was it ever a stage production?
No, I mean not to my knowledge.
The musical.
Okay, I'll say it's real just because someone's trying to trick me.
Spicy. Number 4. Are you okay? Miles asks flatly from the other side of the door. In the bathroom, I've pulled off my scrubs, shaking slightly as I rub my hands over my newly bared shoulders. I can't wait to get in the shower and wash away Dylan's unwanted touch. Even through my scrubs, Dylan's heavy hands on my shoulders felt repulsive, the opposite of the electricity that surges through me with even a look from Miles. Tate, answer me, Miles says insistently, and the flash of anger in his voice triggers a thrill that liquefies my brain and then my body. I shiver, but I'm not cold at all. I'm fine, I say defensively, sounding angrier than I feel. I immediately regret my tone. Will it push him away? He cares. Miles cares about me, on some level, to be so angry about Dylan's unwanted advances toward me. Or does he? I just don't know. God, is now the time to tell him about the baby, our baby? But it's too late to tell Miles anything, because I hear his footsteps walking away.
Our baby? What?
We got 4/5 of a book left. I don't know. Maybe that's the hook.
Wow.
Maybe the baby's ugly. Maybe that's where it comes from.
I do love that, like, so far, and I assume this will continue, like, that he's just a dumbass, like, hi, could I get some soup from your cabinet? And she's like, oh, did I say the wrong thing when I said we don't have any soup?
Yeah, and Miles is obviously just being like, man, I sure hope the Lions hit that over-under tonight. He's clearly just a
Do you want to watch me play a video game?
Yes.
He wants to watch. He must really care for me. So that captures that nicely, but what was the baby?
Baby and Dylan's unwanted advances.
Dylan, you son of a bitch.
Dylan is the elevator perv from the very first chapter. He has not been identified by name yet.
Dylan is Carl Weathers in Predator. Right? The
famous Dylan, you son of a bitch.
You son of a bitch. Pushing pencils has made you weak. I don't know. The baby seems a bridge too far. I'll say fanfic.
Wow. All right. And number 5, the last one. Let me just find it. Where is it? Okay. Miles is the only one who opens the door and knocks at the same time. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down. Calm the hell down, Tate. Who was that? Miles asks from behind me. I don't even turn around. I continue making my plate of food as if his being here after weeks of silence isn't filling me with a storm of emotions, anger being the most prominent one. He's in my class, I say. We were studying. I can feel the tension rolling off him, and I'm not even facing him. For 3 hours? I spin around and face him, but the expletives I want to scream get caught in my throat when I see him. He's standing in the doorway to the kitchen, gripping the doorframe over his head. I can tell he hasn't worked in a few days because his jaw is lined with a thin layer of stubble. He's barefoot, and his shirt has risen up with his arms, revealing that V. At first I stare at him. Then I yell at him. If I want to screw a guy in my bedroom for 3 hours, then good for me. You aren't at all entitled to have an opinion about what goes on in my life. You're a jerk, and you have serious issues, and I don't want to be a part of them anymore.
Wow. Well,
yeah.
The touch of authenticity with the word screw, which she has settled on. We'll get to that. I don't know. All right, I'll say that's real.
Wow. All right. Let's see. Have people been dialed in? Have you been dialed in? Have you been secretly Colleen Hoovering in the meantime? How many more Arnold Schwarzenegger references can we weave into the rest of the podcast? Number 1 was building a snowman together, noticing her fingers. You said fanfic. That was fanfic written by Dave.
Well done, Dave. Almost. You had me. The hook was in there. It was there.
It could have been. It could have been. It was just.
Of course, it could have been.
Maybe a little heavy. Although, where are they? Could they be building a snowman? Aren't they? In San Diego?
They San Diego.
I guess I don't know where he's from. She's in San Diego. Anyway, correct. 1 for 1. Number 2. This was the one where. Cheating, too perfect to cheat, I'm wrong, skewed out of joint, and the justification shifted to the other side. You said fanfic for that. That was also fanfic, written by Arthur. So 2 for 2.
2 for 2.
What was the tip-off there? That was a pretty good one.
I don't remember.
Yeah. Number 3 was The English Patient. And you said real for that. And that was real from later in the book, submitted by both August and Janelle. So that was a standout.
All right. The rest can be wrong, and I'm already proud of that. Come on. To pick that out as real?
The English Patient?
Well, I know. That's her mind.
Why is that in a book in 2015?
I don't know. I'm just saying that's the
Why
kind
are the
of stupid
20-year-olds talking about it?
Yeah.
Number 4 was Miles outside the door. He cares. The baby, telling him about the baby. You said fanfic. That was fanfic, written by Catherine.
Woo!
Yep. 4 for 4. 4 for 4. And number 5 was Miles standing there in the doorway with the V, and she's saying she was studying for 3 hours with someone. You said real for that. And that was real, submitted by Michael. 5 for 5.
Oh, baby.
Yeah. You co-host Shot the Moon, baby.
Oh, well.
How? It's incredible. You were in an airport last week, you said. Maybe you did a cram session with the books available in the airport. Maybe just traveling and passing a Hudson News has somehow absorbed this.
Sometimes they say the pitch looks like a watermelon coming at you, and sometimes it's just a BB and it just flies by and you can't see it. So I don't know. Who knows?
All right. Well,
I'm very proud.
Yeah, I am too. It's good to see, because you sometimes get discouraged off the bat, and we want this to be fun. We also want our listeners to step it up now. We got a lot of fan fiction. So.
How could they step it up more? You're dealing with a genius. I'm the Churchill of fanfic right here.
You're the coho whisperer. All right. Chapter 5 goes back to Tate, her point of view. Tater.
Short for
Tato,
potato.
like the Irish potato chips, if we have any Irish
Potato. Yes. Kleinian right off the bat.
Ooh.
Right? His shit-eating grin says
wow,
enough about what he's thinking right now.
Nice.
Right? Didn't he alternated that with Cheshire grin, right? But I think he had...
Yes.
I believe he had both.
Cheshire shit-eating grin, yep. Yeah, and then they would haul ass somewhere. Oh, maybe that was Andy Weir, but...
Oh, yeah. No, I think that was Klein.
But I think they both hauled ass. Yeah.
Oh, they both hauled ass. Okay. All right.
The shit-eating grin was of Miles or Corbin?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
Probably Corbin if it's anyone. Yeah, I didn't make a note of it. Sorry.
Got it. The shit-eating grin is Dylan, the elevator.
Dylan. All right.
Yeah, because Tate has returned home. It's the end of a long day. I think it's a couple weeks later. She has a job, but she still lives with her brother. And she comes home to find Miles, another guy, Ian, Miles' best friend. I think that's the guy who was texting with him. The texting perv who said, "Is she hot?" And yeah. And then you have Dylan, who is a guy in the elevator, and it says, Dylan gives me a nod but doesn't bother speaking. He doesn't have to. His shit-eating grin says enough about what he's thinking right now.
Yes, okay. There we go.
So Dylan is... you might not remember this, but Dylan was also the name of the boyfriend, Zoe Saldana's boyfriend in Crossroads, who they drove across the country to meet, and then he drinks the blue beer bottle, and it's revealed that he assaulted her road trip mate on prom night. And
come on, there are very few things I remember in life. That is clearly one of them. The blue bottle of beer. By the way, I just wanted to point out that. So you mentioned, okay, we've referenced The Room,
T-1000,
Schwarzenegger several times, of course, with Dylan. Someone pointed out once that pretty much every episode we have to mention Hot Property.
Okay. Yes.
And I would just like to point, now it's been mentioned, but you went past Hot Frosty and there was silence from us. So give us some credit.
Yeah.
Also, we referenced, William Carlos Williams and E.E. Cummings. So the point is, we'll soon devolve into nothing but references, but at least some of them will be, like sophomore in college kind of references.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Name the third William Poem Connor. Not going to do it. Can't happen. What did Pablo Neruda do? He was mentioned on The Simpsons. Thank you.
Yeah, I was playing hacky sack in the quad while we were learning that fourth poem. All right. She comes home. They're doing.
I also mentioned Lost too. people are fond of it when I bring up my Lost and how I don't like it, but still talk about it 20 years later. So,
well, Sawyer's your man crush.
talk
right?
about the V, baby. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy's got the V going on. What's he doing? Well, never mind. All right, let's get on with this. She goes home, and they're all in her apartment. The only characters that we have so far met, besides Cap.
Cap is not there. That would be incredible if
there.
these guys hung out with an 80-year-old.
That would be great. Just like Liam Neeson peed his pants right in the middle of it. That's what Liam Neeson does. Look it up. I'm obsessed with it. Anyway. So she goes home, and they're doing. What are they doing? They have to watch something on TV at his place because they can't do it at Dylan's because Dylan's old lady starts ragging on him. I assume Dylan is like he's David Koechner, whatever. Right,
right, or like, Andy Capp.
There she is. She's coming in here now. All right.
Dylan's 23-year-old wife has got her rolling pin that she's about to hit him with.
Yes.
They have to go there, and he just says to watch the game. Like, this is what we do.
To watch the game. Game night.
TV.
I was like, are they going to play a tabletop game while turning on the TV? I don't understand this. But
and it's very weird because he says, this is kind of a thing we do some Thursdays if either of us is home. Game night. And he points to the TV. So I have to assume they're watching the universally, almost 100% of the time, garbage Thursday night football matchup that's always like the Browns and the Jaguars or the Tech. It's like just those three. It's a Venn diagram of them and the Texans. So like these guys, they bro down and watch some of the worst, 10-7 football games that you could ever see.
Right.
And she's had a hard day of working. This is another college story. As this happened to me once, I believe I was out, just doing something that was just mentally and physically exhausting. I went to get McDonald's or something, and instead of getting $5 out of my bank account, I got 20, thereby overdrawing it and incurring a penalty. I came home with the McDonald's, and me and my roommate's room was sort of a place people would gather. And there were like 6 women in my room watching a VHS tape of The Cutting Edge that one of them had brought there because they didn't have a VCR or something. And I was livid, but there was nothing I could really do. So I just slammed on my headphones and just like banged out whatever report I had to do. So this is essentially the exact same scenario for Tate here.
This is it, except she has to make a sandwich.
Got it. And she's making one for Cap.
She does make one for Cap. The sandwich, I was kind of like, I want more details on the sandwich. I know there's mayonnaise. There's a bag of bread.
Mm-hmm.
So she's not slicing her own bread. I guess Corbin he didn't get into the sourdough thing during the, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And what was the line about how he approaches her and she's, I'm pretty sure I'm leaving finger indentations on the bread, considering every single part of me right down to my toes just tensed when Miles tells her to go study at his place. So
right. Yeah.
That's how hot and bothered she is. But before that, Dylan approaches her making the sandwich. His eyes don't hide anything, and right now they're clearly undressing me.
He says, again, I think David Koechner, if you don't know who he is, he's the character actor. He's like kind of balding, and he's
one of the 4 Anchormen.
He's Anchorman, yes, he's in that. But that's just he's got kind of, speaking of lips, he's got that little downturned lip, and he's got the drunk lech thing down. A friend of mine met him, said he's a very nice guy. But,
nice.
He's coming in with a beer and like, so you're Corbin's little sister, huh? Well, you a nurse or something? He opens his beer and brings it to his mouth, but pauses before taking a drink. He wants me to answer him first.
Maybe he's waiting for her to realize that he, assaulted her road trip mates. It's like he's pointing at the bottle. It's blue. Dylan, come on.
Dylan.
The beer is starting to go down his chin.
And she's like, I'm not going to make him a sandwich. And then he goes, I'm a pilot. Which, wait, I'm sorry. He doesn't say it in a smug way. But when no one's asking you what your occupation is, voluntarily contributing it to the conversation naturally comes off as smug.
Wow.
So I noted that. Like, okay, now I won't. If someone doesn't ask me and I say I'm a content provider for a small internet company, it sounds
smug.
You
bastard. Drink in the face like a real housewife. We do not do in this house. We do not do smug, and the house is big enough for us and your stepsister.
Yes.
This was also a funny thing. I think it was this was either Ian or Miles. I think it's Miles. But he says he's working as a registered nurse in an ER. A crease appears on his forehead, and I can't tell if it's a result of confusion or fascination. Aren't you still in nursing school? How can you already work as an RN? I'm getting my master's in nursing so I can work as a CRNA. I already have my RN license. So that's just another big dumping of slop exposition back onto you. But I was quite amused by the fact that Miles, the 25-year-old pilot bro, has a deep understanding of the inner machinations of the nursing licensing system and the varying degrees of RN and CRNA and CPA and forensic certified public accountant and all that.
Yes.
He's got some questions for her.
But the sandwich making thing goes on so long. Like as you're scrolling down, you're like, oh, she's still mentioning sandwiches. Okay. Sandwich, bread, mayonnaise. Oh, I'll read through it. But it's so, nothing happens. You don't need to care about it. It so much reminds me of the Hallmark movies when I just think about, like, what if you just had to, you turn in your script, it is like, boy, in that second act, all I'm doing is like people meeting at a coffee shop and going like, hey, I got you a coffee. Great, I have just a minute to drink it. Then I have to get over and do my job. Like, sure, I'll walk with you. And then you're like, do I need to care about any of this? And then the whole scene happens and you go, oh no, it's just, I get it. You're just supposed to, a script is just, you're supposed to make it sound like a human being could say it. It doesn't have to advance any plot. It doesn't have to do anything or say anything. Like, that's what this sandwich making is. Like, why are we still making a goddamn sandwich? It's not doing anything. We already know who Dylan is. We know, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, Dylan was, from moment one, you told us who he was.
Okay, we're back after a weekend, I think it was.
I think some of your more polished professional podcasts out there might pretend that nothing happened here, but we're going to give it to you straight, folks.
Yeah, let's give it to you. I had a bad internet connection. We soldiered through. We got a bunch of stuff done, but we're joining in media res, as they like to say. We're in the middle of things. So if we're repeating ourselves at all, or we're dropping just a small portion, we apologize in advance. I don't think we will. I think we've got this figured out.
And I was arrested over the weekend, too, so I've got just
and beaten quite severely. So if you don't have video, he's like both arms are up in those, those metal poles that hold your arms straight out like Frankenstein. Yeah. And he is in traction. The microphone is like directed at his. Again, get the video, people. You'll see all of this stuff. His face is very unrecognizable.
It's going to be ugly to try to love me from here on out as well.
Oh my gosh! Thanks for bringing it back home. All right, we were, I believe, sandwich making in the middle of chapter 5.
We were making sandwiches. I was like, don't pull us away from the sandwich making. But your connection was just too, we could not power through despite the thrilling content we were parsing here.
Well, when I explained I have Xfinity / Comcast, whatever, right? When I explained to when I explained to the tech, like, you don't understand. This woman was making a sandwich for herself and for Cap. And he was like, I will get on this right away. Sir, I cannot apologize enough. When you fill out the survey, please give me 10 stars and mention the sandwich. And then everything was fine from there on out. But
she's making a sandwich. It's going to take a couple weeks for me to fix this. But she's making one for Cap, too. I'll have a third truck sent out.
I swear it on my mother's grave, I will not leave this house until I will find your connection.
All right, two sandwiches, one for her, one for the retired man who works 18-hour days pressing buttons in the hotel, in the building lobby. It's the worst retirement anyone has ever had. Cap is exhausted and hungry.
We know what he likes to do. I don't want to skip over this because I do have the line when she does give the sandwich to Cap. But before that, I want to issue you a Sonic challenge.
Okay. I'll begrudgingly accept.
Once again, I will hold the line until the last moment. I will describe the situation first and then give you the line, okay?
Okay, sure.
There's regret in his voice somewhere. It would more than likely take a search party to locate it, but it's buried there somewhere beneath all the sultriness.
Oh my God.
Okay? So
there's regret in his voice somewhere, but it
buried.
would take a search party buried somewhere.
Yes.
It would take a search party to locate it because it's buried beneath the sultriness.
Beneath all the sultriness.
Okay, so I'm imagining it's like that Thai cave where the soccer team was in it, and the search party is like swimming through the sultriness to try to spirit these boys out.
Good, whatever you need to do for your process, man. Whatever you... and here's the line that you get to pour all that sultriness into, buried beneath all the sultriness. I'll try to read it as flatly as I can. We'll probably be here another 2 hours.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, this is like something that would make if you had a AI assistant being like, I want you to say this sultry yet regret, it would short circuit its boards here. Cannot compute.
I'm sorry, I can't do that.
Yeah. All right. We'll probably be here another 2 hours.
Getting close to the mic, a little Don DeMillo sprinkled in there. Nice. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, it's really sultry because Aiden O'Connell's about to throw 3 interceptions in this Thursday night football game, and Dylan is bet his his mortgage payment on Vegas covering the spread, so he's going to be really worked up.
Well, you know what? I heard the regret in your voice, but it was, I'm sending my search party out now to see if they can find it. The sultriness was there, all the sultriness.
Thank you. More sultry than usual, I guess is what you're saying.
Yes, more than usual. So she brings the sandwich to Cap. I lay out bread for an extra sandwich to take to Cap. He's kind of grown on me in the little time I've lived here. So I guess she's just ignoring the strong smell of urine.
Yeah.
Off of his
stained
pants.
I mean, who knows what she's stepping over on the streets of San Francisco every day. So it might just be like not
That's
even
true,
picking
yeah.
up that Cap is the source of the urine smell. But yeah, he's.
Does she have? She has her own app for Cap, like the Cap app. That just like she has to press that. Like he peed himself already this morning. Like okay, maybe I'll take the stairs.
Or just go check on him, being like, Cap, it's been 2 hours. Do you need assistance to the bathroom? I'm going to give you a sandwich, but you've got to go to the bathroom first, like a toilet training a 4-year-old. But then after she feeds Cap, she makes some sandwiches. She grips the sandwiches. Miles essentially says, look, this is bro time, which is taking place in your brother's apartment, even though he's not here. So you have to go over to my apartment to do your registered nurse exam studying. And she accedes to this because I guess they're just going to be in the living room being like, booyah, booyah, as she's trying to study. So she goes over to Miles.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Ooh, just like,
bro, can you get me a beer while you're up? Like, I'm in the kitchen, which is connected to this open concept living room. You do not have to yell at me that loud to get a beer.
I assume one of them, like, trying to be kind of retro, going like, he could go all the way. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And she's like, my God, I'm like, studying nerve connections.
Yes, yeah.
There's a chapter on substance P here that I need to get through.
So, yeah, she could probably still hear them across the hallway, but she does go over to Miles's room.
Yes.
And this is just... Not a lot here has been shocking, but this was shocking to me. She's in Miles, a 24, 25-year-old. We learned pilot's San Francisco apartment, and she is stunned here. She says, it's so unlike the home I grew up in, where the kitchen table was the focal point of my mother's entire house, complete with a table runner, an elaborate overhead chandelier, and plates to match whatever the current season was. Miles doesn't even have a fruit bowl. So I'm just, I mean, I lived with Lauren for all post-college, and so there wasn't really an opportunity to be like the single guy apartment, but based on what my 22-year-old college apartment was like, I'm guessing, the liquor bottle still lining the windows, poster of, I mean, who was hot in this 2012? She probably has a poster of Miley Cyrus on the wall or something.
Stolen stop sign,
Yes.
a flag they stole from, ironically hung on a sheet for drapes.
There was a big accident at that intersection after we lifted that, man. So I'm really hoping they don't track us down.
Right after the fruit bowl, the only impressive thing about this apartment is the bookshelf in the living room. It's lined with dozens of books, which is more of a turn-on to me than anything else that could potentially line his barren walls. Well, it was a turn-on until she looked closely at the books and saw Moon People, Super Constitution, Eye of Argon, Antigua.
Oh, my God. He listened to that podcast.
And then it was like the famous, Hitchcock shot, the camera pulling in while it racks back, and like the focus, and like the strings going mad, like, oh my God.
And then he's out of focus in the background, slowly closing the door.
Yes.
See anything you like?
Let's read them all together.
You didn't like Artemis, did you? I loved it. It was my favorite Andy Weir book. I don't like the good ones.
No, it's row after row of aeronautical themed books. So does the turn on stay the same there, or could it really have been any books like on the shelf? But it's the first mention. Later he says he's a pilot, but this is just they let you know that beforehand. So it would have been great if he was just like, no, I'm just in this. I hung out with so many pilots that I just sort of wanted to be able to talk to them about something.
I didn't get later when she says that. She's like, wait, you're a pilot? Like, you saw my bookshelf. My brother told you. Didn't he tell her
the pilot's
that he
contract with the building? Dylan's a pilot.
It's
Her
mostly
brother's a
pilots
pilot.
in this building. He's acting like a pilot, and he has a shelf full of aeronautical books. And she's like, wait a minute, you're a pilot? So she is not the brightest bulb on the tree.
No, and that's sort of emphasized here by the fact that she does have these nursing exams. But what does she do? She starts doing his dishes for him because she's like goes into the Hallmark heroine mode of just sort of tidying up and trying to, I can fix him. Only I can fix him.
I assume she, just like, I just put on one of his shirts, and then I assume like a
Yes.
strand of hair came down, and she went and blew it up into her. Oh, boy. And put the big gloves on. And I assume she's adorable. I mean,
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I guess she's now cleaned up and stuff. I guess she was still in her scrubs, but she can still pull it off. I'm thinking all those Hallmark movies. This is like they were your training montage for these type of activities, these type of books.
I can visualize it all, of course. But this is a thing she does. I think we talked about this several days ago when we started this podcast. The fascination with lips.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that she mentioned his lips a few times, or
Miles
her lips.
also mentioned his high school girlfriend's Rachel's lips.
The author has a particular problem with lips or some fascination. And I think while she's doing dishes, she makes some joke or something and almost makes him smile, but then says, just as soon as his lips started to curl up, they mash back into a straight line. False alarm. I like to say that to people who almost smile at me, like, I just see that you mashed your lips back into a straight line there. Next time I'll try a little harder on my joke. But the way you mashed them back, people love it. I'm sure they'll love it.
It reminds me of like the 90s software where you could manipulate someone's face.
Oh, yes.
Kai's Power Goo. Or, but so the reason that he almost smiled, I guess, was because Right after the almost melt, he notices that she had poured some orange juice. She examined his fridge, but it was a typical bachelor fridge. It had orange juice and like the gross bottle of ketchup. That the ketchup's still good, but it has the dried ketchup, around the top of it. It's been in there for 3 years.
Yeah.
But he then gets this interaction. He turns to face me and leans his shoulder into the refrigerator, folding his arms over his chest. I don't care if you drink my juice, Tate. Oh, wow. That was an oddly sexy sentence. So was his presence in delivering it. So he's... would she have found Daniel Plainview sexy as well? I mean, is it the juice drinking that's sexy? I don't know. But I think it was when this kicked in for me. There was blessedly zero on getting in this section. But when we do get to that, and I imagine something is coming, it is going to be dreadful. If that's where we're setting the bar for sexiness here.
I am dreading that moment as well. I'm just sort of hoping that maybe she doesn't. I mean, obviously she's got to go there. Right?
I guess so, but you'd think it would have been something to start to, a little taste of what's coming in these first chapters. Maybe that's why this book is so poorly reviewed. Maybe that's where she tried to, write a book without the crutch of the sex scenes, and everyone hated it.
Well, he gets dressed in front of her, and that's where he puts on a familiar uniform or shirt or something. And you're a pilot? I ask, somewhat perplexed. Like, what? This didn't come up before? Your brother didn't? Like, come on.
Yeah, it has been weeks.
Yes. But then we get this. I think you referenced it early. Stop. This is her internal monologue here. This is Potato. Stop staring at his stomach, period. Oh, my word. He has the V. Those beautiful indentations on men that run the length of their outer abdominal muscles, disappearing beneath their jeans as if the indentations are pointing to a secret bullseye. Oh.
That's also a good indication of where we might be going once they start...
I don't eat breakfast, and we are recording this in the morning, so I had nothing to
barf.
Nothing to barf, but that is a barf-worthy line, is it not?
Nothing to yes, but barf-worthy. I saw a comedian in Vermont one time. I think Emily Heller, very funny, and I think she described. I'll paraphrase it, but she described the V, I don't remember what context is, as just something you only see on a frat boy who's goose-stepping over the girl that he roofied to get to the... So that's what I think about every time, and so that's what she's staring at on Miles. That was hard to ignore that.
And it's only the two of them, so like her staring, it's not like she can kind of hide. The guy just like, what, man? What?
Well, he's also doing pretty much like the Ron Burgundy of being
pretty
like
performative.
Well, the gun show, yeah. He's doing. What is he doing? Like ironing his laundry, folding his laundry, but just
he's getting dressed for his pilot job. Like only now, and like I guess I got to go pilot. I guess I got to take a flight over to Paris or something. Have you heard of it?
Yeah. And then after that, I'm going to the gun show. So.
Whoa, I'm not allowed around schools. Oh, God, no, please, because of the guns.
Then again, I didn't find out Dylan was a pilot while he was doing laundry and flaunting his abs. A guy folding laundry while flaunting his abs and being a pilot is seriously impressive. All right. And then he sort of denies, he like pretends, he's like, I don't drink that much, but like, so like that was a real outlier the day that you met me. He sort of even jokes about like we met on an elevator, but then he's like, that was a very rare exception that you found me that. So who knows what he's trying to pull off there. I assume they were, I guess he was saying he wasn't drinking while they were over there watching the game.
Oh yes. And then he makes a joke about, which I thought was kind of tasteless. Like, yeah, I got to go pilot so I don't drink when yeah, they're pretty strict about that. That happened once in the 90s, and people are like, oh, God, let it go, man.
Yeah. There was Jay Leno and Simpsons jokes about that one probably for years. But then she brings up Rachel. She mentions that he had been, drunk crying about Rachel when he was hammered, and he just... his lips smash together, I guess, again, because he is not talking about Rachel. He's been shocked when she mentions the name. So I can't tell what just happened. Did I embarrass him, piss him off, make him sad? He's a wooden mask of a guy, which she finds a lot of people would find it off-putting, like a serial killer perhaps, but she's just entranced.
Well, yeah. Did he, when he dressed in front of her, was it just like, I am going to get dressed in front of you now? And she's like, seductively peeling off her gloves, and he's going, what are you? I don't understand.
Earth woman, are you intrigued by the sight of my abdominal muscles? On my planet, everyone has these.
Yes. In fact, they are far bigger. The V points even more pointedly to bullseyes on my planet.
Yes, a V is what all weaklings and awkward people have. On my planet, we have the W.
Oh, and that's all I got for her. That's chapter 5, right?
Yeah, chapter 6 reverts back to Miles. It starts off with the E.E. Cummings, William Carlos, William Speak, because they are back at the dinner, the awkward dinner that he's having with his presumptive girlfriend Rachel, until he learned that Lisa, her father, was going to be his dad's future stepwife.
The annoyance continues. I don't have a lot of, no one can stomach this. My thoughts aren't thoughts anymore. Carriage return. My thoughts are Rachel. I can't fall in love with you, Rachel. I look at the sink. I want to look at Rachel. I breathe in air. I want to breathe in Rachel. I mean, it's technically almost unreadable. You can't get through it.
I scrape some gristly bits of steak off my plate into the trash can. I want to scrape gristly bits of Rachel. Yeah, no one in this book seems to be all right. Everyone is just hyper... You say hyper horny, but no one's really thinking that much about sex, but they act as if they've been walloped on the head by Cupid or something.
Yeah, it's terrible. When I got to the point, I take 6 squares of toilet paper and wrap them around my hand I want to. All right, look, buddy, we don't need to go any deeper into this.
And to reiterate, it is a 17-year-old boy, a guy who became a pilot. We don't know anything about him other than his interactions with Ian, which were pretty bro-y. Pilots, if it's based on Top Gun, a kind of a bro-y kind of thing. But this guy is acting like he's just a smitten poet who's going to go get a lute and perform outside her window, as opposed to what all the 17-year-old boys I grew up with were thinking about.
He's going to put on thigh-high boots that he stitches up with rawhide and go outside. He does say repeatedly, I want to touch Rachel, which, of course, reminded me of want to touch the hiney, which somewhere I still have it in storage. I have the script for that movie, the original for Billy Madison.
Why?
I have the shooting script for it because I asked for it.
Of course.
And then
asked who for it?
I asked, we were working with the studio at the time, and I asked the head of development, and she's like, we're working on a really good movie right now, unlike yours. And I said, could I, that's cool. Could I have the script, and then I'll know what a good movie is? And then, so she mailed me the shooting script for Billy Madison.
I would like to see what the stage direction is for that line. I mean, because that's a sonic challenge. Whoever he interpreted it,
it is in the script. It does. It is there. So
he does the voice. He does an impression of himself.
Someday I'll pull it out, and we'll do a special podcast on just reading through the script.
So we were lamenting how bad it's going to be once people do stop being real and start getting busy. And so this is a little preview of it, I think, because they do. Did they get together in the kitchen after her dad? I think his dad and mom leave or something.
Yes, they're kind of deciding their fates. Mm-hmm. Yes, what are we going to do?
Yes, we know you can't. We know you can't do this, but she admits it's been a year they've been together, that they're going to probably get married, but then they decide to, in the face of all this, they're still going to smooch. And so here's the romance writing. She inhales, stealing some of my breaths.
I breathe into her, giving her more. Our tongues touch and our guilt intertwines, and my fingers slide through the hair God made specifically for her. My new favorite flavor is Rachel. My new favorite thing is Rachel. I want Rachel for my birthday. I want Rachel for Christmas. I want Rachel for graduation. Okay, kind of lost the thread there, but all right. Dads and grads gifts. You get Rachel. So yeah, I think that's going to be it's not going to be good when we get there.
If you had read on, you missed some pretty good prose.
Okay.
Italicized. Rachel, comma, Rachel, comma, Rachel, period.
Sorry.
I'm going to fall in love with you anyway, comma, Rachel, period, carriage return. So let that just sort of, that just meaty prose.
So yeah, they were in the bathroom the kitchen while their parents were still there, but then Lisa says we've got to go, and he's just thinking like, what am I going to do? You know, my dad's going to marry this woman, but I love her daughter, and he says, I'm angry at my dad, but now I see him. I don't see him the same way anymore. Now he's just normal, human. Maybe that's the rite of passage before you become a man, realizing your father doesn't have life figured out any more than you do. So I don't know if Coho is the person to weigh in on this right now, based on what we've seen in this book. But yeah, sure, maybe that's what you should sit your little son on your knee and bounce him and say, "Listen, son, I would tell you some advice, but Colleen Hoover said it better than anyone ever could." So
I want you to take this chapter, read it all, digest it, and come back to me. Oh, and take this carton of cigarettes, too, and smoke them all.
Yeah, that's the ugly love challenge. You got to smoke a carton of cigarettes into tape and takes you to read the book.
Wow, that's the rite of passage before you become a man, realizing your father. Okay. How old is he again? He's 17. That's right.
17, yeah. Frank's dad sat him down and they watched Field of Dreams together, Dad. Why are you reading me Ugly Love? It seems like, not many lessons to learn here.
My dad tossed me into a lake. All right, well.
to make you a man? Nah, he was just kind of bored.
What is that now?
So then we go back to chapter 7. Tate, in the future, 2 weeks since she's seen Miles doing his laundry. And it says, it's been 2 weeks since I've seen Miles, but only 2 seconds since the last time I've thought about him. So, is this woman suited to become a nurse? Is she suited to be, putting IVs in your arm and assisting with surgeries? I'm not sure. It doesn't seem like she's got her head in the right space.
You're drawing my blood, but most of it is going all over the floor. What are you? Is your mind on your work?
You've written Miles in the blood on the floor.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh God. Of all the things I hate in writing. He's casually dressed in a baseball cap, jeans, and a 49ers t-shirt. I think that's why I find him hard to look away from, though, because I've always found guys more attractive when they put less effort into trying to appear attractive. Steve Buscemi is like the height of hotness for her. Like, the guy makes no effort.
Yeah.
He's got that gross patchy beard and like his teeth. He didn't get his teeth fixed. Like, that's what I find attractive.
Well, she's just talked about how he's pretty much the sculpture of Michelangelo's David, too. As long as they're a literal Adonis, like, sure, if they put on a baseball cap, I'm not going to mind. Also, he's a 25-year-old bro. Like, when is he not dressed like this?
Yes, it's so annoying. Yes, a supermodel when she just throws on a shirt. Oh my gosh, I find that so much more. Come on, man. I just hate that fake. Come on.
They're going down in the elevator. Miles is coming home with them for Thanksgiving. Like, oh, what? Talk about a Hallmark scenario. But she says, when we make it to the ground floor, I'm relieved he steps off first because I have to inhale a pretty noticeable breath, considering I haven't inhaled in at least 60 seconds. So again, not really suited to the high-stress world of the hospital floor, I think.
I saw that. It was like 60 seconds. I know you can train yourself, but 60 seconds is fairly impressive for just like not even trying to take a breath.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at it, but I have a friend who told me, like, no, you can actually learn it and everything. So I looked it up. Do you know what the record is for holding your breath?
I think it's like 18 minutes or something.
I think it's recently broken 24 minutes and 37 seconds.
By the 22-minute mark, you have to ask yourself what you're doing, you know?
Oh, like it's like 23 minutes. He's like, no, I'm good. They're like, you are obviously dead.
Yeah, if you might exhale, but then your brain is not going to be jump-started as soon as you take the next breath in.
It's like literally 25 minutes.
Yeah, it's an episode of The Simpsons.
In a pool.
All right, so Ugly Love Challenge. You got to smoke a whole carton of cigarettes at the time it takes you to read the book, and hold your breath, break the world record for not breathing while reading.
25 minutes, yeah. Anyway, okay, so she held her breath for a minute without trying. So, she's on the road. Work at it a little more.
And then I was sort of like, I'm not sure this all checks out. But then Cap says it himself. We're going home to San Diego. You have any plans for Thanksgiving? And Cap says, going to be a busy day for flights. Reckon I'll be working. And I thought, oh, yeah, Thanksgiving weekend is the most busy travel weekend of the year. These low on the totem pole pilots are clearly going to have to flying to somewhere in Topeka or something. Like right. They're both taking it off. I do not believe that for a second.
Yeah, he's obviously working, especially when you're a junior like he is. He's a young man. Yeah. I'd like to recreate this moment, if you wouldn't mind. It's right in that same area where they're at the elevator talking to Cap. A very silent and awkward 5 seconds follows, with neither of them speaking. Maybe Miles doesn't like being referred to as boy. Have a good Thanksgiving, Cap, Miles finally utters. Okay, so I'll play Cap, and then you look at your watch or whatever you have there and give it 5 seconds.
You set up the line. It's how about you, boy? You headed home
what
yourself.
What is it?
How about you, boy? You headed home yourself?
Okay, gotcha. All right, here we go. Imagine that there's like a slight stink cloud of just a whiff of urine in the air. How about you, boy? You headed home for Thanksgiving yourself? Psst.
Have a good Thanksgiving, Cap.
Oh, wow. Oh, that was awkward. I had 3 seconds. 3 seconds of that. I was peeing myself. My goodness, that was a long time.
And I was picturing your flayed skin being hung from the roof of the elevator.
Well, I'm just checking out your V. I don't care about that kind of stuff.
Thruple Cap, you down? Yeah, that would be quite the twist.
Who knows? We got a lot of book left.
So they hop in her brother's car and they're driving down. Or I think Miles is driving at first, and
a lot of drama about where she's going to sit in back.
Again, you're going to be faced with important decisions in treating a patient here. Then she's not sure whether she should sit in the middle seat of the car or behind the driver or the other person. She's anywhere I sit, I feel him. He's everywhere. So
everything is Miles. That's how it is when a person develops an attraction towards someone. He's nowhere. Then suddenly he's everywhere, whether you want him to be or not. I'm starting to think she's just padding the word count at this point with this repetition crap. There's no point to it. It's not advancing any story. It's just just keep typing. And word count, she's watching that word count go up on the top right of her screen. Like, okay, good. Yep. I got 7,500 words in today. Job well done.
And like I said before, like the hook of the other books, at least Twilight, he has a supernatural thrall over her because he's a vampire. This guy is just some dipshit that has.
He's a dullard, absolute dullard.
I've got you in my dipshit thrall, baby. Yeah. How about opening me another Corona?
Check out my ketchup. Oh, it's all crusty at the top. You're damn right. Ooh.
But then she says, I want to know all the thoughts that pass through his head, especially the one thought that's in there right now, hiding behind that unwavering stoic expression. He's driving, so he's thinking, oh, I swear to God, if that guy tries to get in, I am not going to. Oh, yeah, don't even try it, buddy.
He's not signaling. He's merging, but he's not signaling, so I'm sorry, but I'm just going to keep going in a straight line.
He's probably thinking about me.
He's looking down going, I think I had some meat sticks in the glove box.
Those are still good, right? They don't refrigerate them.
Miles.
They don't refrigerate them at 7-Eleven, so they'd be fine in the glove box too, right? And then you get this. They make the rearview mirror eye contact, and I smile, amused by whatever game this is we're playing. He smiles too. New line. He, new line, smiles. New line, two smiles.
God.
Which I said it was like text speak, kind of, which makes sense considering all the GIFs that were in the reviews of these books.
Yeah, I guess so. Ugh.
And then his first physical interaction with her is his finger. She's got her feet up on the dash, on the little, what do you call it, the console in the middle. Which, come on, you know what you're doing with that.
Yes.
Maybe she's angling for the Tarantino adaptation here, but his fingers wrap around my bare foot, stopping me. You're fine, he says. His hand is still wrapped around my foot. I'm staring at it. Holy hell, his thumb just moved, deliberately moved, stroking the side of my foot. My thighs clench together and my breath halts in my lungs and my legs tense, because I'll be damned if his hand didn't just caress my foot before he pulled it away. So there we get the Wiki Feet chapter is how it all begins.
I think what he was doing with that was like, wow, this is those toenails are very thick and yellow. You've obviously got a fungus here. You need to paint your nails nightly, or you need to soak them in bleach. I don't know, but this is as bad as I've seen.
Yeah, I do play a lot of video games, so that looks like the toenail of a Hinox in Zelda Breath of the Wild. I'd make it into a necklace, actually. It's.
Then she says this. I'm puzzled by this. I could be wrong. I don't know. Primarily because most guys talk too much, and it's painful having to suffer through every single thought that goes through their heads. Is that primarily a male trait? Do we think that men just like babble on and say whatever comes into their heads? Is that? I mean we all know someone like that. I'm just saying I just don't see it primarily. She's like, every guy I meet is basically what she's saying.
It's a good question to ask at what's probably the 2 hour and 15 minute of this podcast episode. So, so touche. That's right there. Yeah, especially this guy who is not like that. You've got Dylan maybe who's like doing the leering, and I'm a pilot, baby. I can do whatever I want. My wife's fine with it. But Miles does not seem to be that type of guy.
No.
They get home to her house in San Diego. And then she says it right here. Thanksgiving was always a small affair at our house. My dad was hardly ever home since a pilot's busiest time of years are the holidays. So how do these two young idiots have the day off?
Are they that? Maybe they're that incompetent. Like, we're not flying you during this time. We need our passengers to trust that they're going to get there alive. And you guys, you've had several incidents. You are on a razor's edge here, my friend.
Yeah, Miles, last time you were piloting a thing, you almost hit another plane because you were trying to check Deshaun Watson's over-under yards in the while you were in the air. So it's not going to happen.
She mentions... this is how she describes him. His golden brown hair. I thought that he had it mixed in a perfect blend of hair, right?
Oh, boy.
Blonde. Anyway, his golden brown hair paired with those mesmerizing blue eyes, which just sort of stare at you and, go like, I'm hungry. But whatever. His broad shoulders, the scruff that lines his firm jaw when he's had a couple days off of work. The way he always smells so fantastically delicious. Like he just stepped out of the shower and hasn't even towel dried yet. Look, man, what kind of body wash does this guy use? Because I just want that, so that as I walk around, people are like, God, that guy smells delicious.
He smells magically delicious. Oh, wait, he used the Lucky Charms body wash. That was a mistake. Oh, God, now a leprechaun's chasing him. He hasn't even towel dried yet? Like, what is the other option there?
He smells like he hasn't. Like he just stepped out of.
Dried?
I don't know.
His towels have got to be.
There was a guy I worked out at a health club, and a guy would This is probably not
boy.
fair, but because you
Nice.
can't identify him, so it doesn't matter, right?
Sure.
But I guess he would eventually towel dry, but he would stand there
Not
in
the
the
hand
shower.
dryer.
No, he didn't do the hand dryer. I think that was a no-no. I think it was in an area where it's like it was impossible to do, like the angle of it, you couldn't
Sure, yeah.
make it happen. So, exactly. Yeah. But this guy would stand in the shower and would use his hand to like squeegee off the water.
Oh, man.
For a long period of time. Once I just kind of kept the shower on for longer than was necessary to watch, like, what is this ritual? Like, it was like, Gollum or something, like scraping off the water. Like,
putting the lotion on its skin. Yeah, it sounds like that.
So he stood under the shower, not going, stood under it and like did this weird squeegeeing of all of his limbs and then worked his way all around his body like he was a fly cleaning himself. And I was just stood there fascinated, like, hey man, give him the nod. Like,
well, I'm glad I asked.
The talc's right over there, buddy.
Yeah, really. What is the alternative to towel drying? And you had an example there that was infinitely more disturbing than anything I could have imagined. But now I'm intrigued by the idea of the Dyson Airblade. That's right at the right level for a little.
Oh yeah, just sink down into that Airblade and
my God, someone has to have tried that. All these challenges: Dyson Airblade unit drying challenge, carton of cigarettes.
Yeah.
And what was the other one? What did one? Oh, the breath holding challenge.
That's why we have to like laminate signs that say, "Please do not stand in the Dyson Airblade." Just the kind of yellow peeling signs. Like, when did you write this up?
I would like to see what the slash symbol, what the illustration would look like if they had to tell you not to stick your junk in the Airblade. That would be a funny one to see. So he smells delicious. Mom says he's a looker with an arch of her eyebrow, so every woman is turned on by this guy.
Yeah.
And I never have to tell Mom anything. She's my mom. She already knows. I blush, turn around, and finish cracking the damn eggs. Which, again, is all right, 7,500 words completed today. 7,500 more after lunch, but I earned this one with that dramatic chapter end.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah. So present day storyline wraps up at Tate's house in San Diego. 6 years earlier storyline finishes up in chapter 8, goes back to Miles, goes back to poetry speak.
Yep. Fully justified in the center, justified just to make clear that's happening.
We will
again.
let you know when that stops, but it is, if you aren't reading along, you ought to just look up the excerpts on Amazon, get it from the library just so you can see how annoying it is that half the book is written this way. He lies, says he's going out to Ian's tonight. Father doesn't care. He's going out with Lisa. His mind is on Lisa. His everything is Lisa. His dad's like, no, not in my everything, honey. Just smashing while on the rebound. That's you're projecting a bit with this Rachel talk you're doing. Lisa is just a piece of tail to me.
He says about the rhapsodic rapturing about Rachel has got to stop.
Well, it's going to at some point. We know there's something bad happens.
I don't know. There's 37 chapters, so it could continue on. I nod. I wonder if she loves my nod as much as I love hers. I wonder this about the lady behind the deli counter. I truly do. How's it going? Yeah. I get some blood sausage, half a pound, slice it thin, and and some ham.
Yeah.
I wonder if she loves my nod as much.
The guy that I see that runs in a sort of neon tank top, he has a big beard on the running trail. That we do the runner's nod. I hope he goes home and wonders if he loves mine as much as I love his.
Yeah, he's combing the rocks out of the sand and stuff that he kicks up out of his beard and going, God, that guy who nods at me, the runner's nod. I love his nod so much.
I ask her what she has to drink. She tells me she has pretty much everything except milk, tea, soda, coffee, juice, and alcohol. I hope you like water, she says. She laughs at herself. I laugh with her. Water is perfect. It would have been my first choice. Maybe there's an art to the Hallmark movie banter if it's this tricky to come up with good banter. But maybe that would have been fine if it was acted out by some attractive youngsters. I don't know.
I think I pointed it out. The template is, this is something that's an idiot might have said. So that's good enough.
Sure, okay. That's the rule. I don't think I've heard your theory of that.
I think that's what it is. Like, an idiot might say this as they went into a coffee house, and then the other idiot might reply like this, like, okay.
I hope they have coffee in here. So here is the big reveal of this one. He's doing the, like, we shouldn't have kissed. We're going to have to break this off. We can never see each other again. Miles, no, let me finish. We can never see each other again, period. Miles, let me finish, Rachel. We can't even see each other at school. If we ever see each other, we'll give into these passions, and we can't do that. Miles, we only rented the apartment for a month. I overheard her on the phone with him yesterday. We're moving in with you in 2 weeks. So he's from what I understand, he is from a 17-year-old guy's perspective, it is like, well, booyah, like, the hot girl's moving in with me. Like, what the hell is wrong with you, sir? Like,
We can't.
Yeah. Miles, just move those bras out of the way if you need to use the shower. Like,
We can't do this anymore, Rachel. Oh, you, like, tasted her a little. You said, and now she's going to move in with you. Come on.
Yeah. The present, her dad is going out on dates. Its mom and her never went on dates. They'd sit there and watch Wheel of Fortune together. You're going to have the house all to yourself. This is, again, you moron.
Idiot.
So this is where we get just a few details about what their situation is. They are seniors in high school, and what does it say? They moved. Oh yeah, they're going off to college in 7 months. So just backfilling that. That'll be September. Mm-hmm. This is May or February or March. So her mom uprooted her daughter in her back half of her senior year of high school to move so she can move in with this idiot. Yes. It's just wildly irresponsible parenting, I'd say. Like, you should, even a scenario where you'd imagine the daughter staying behind and finishing it out.
Counterpoint, Lisa looks so sexy in her red dress.
I guess that is...
She's his future wife.
That the guidance counselor would be hard to respond to that one.
There's a lot of words in this book. Again, the word count. The editor, should have got rid of these. She looks down at her feet. She says my name like it's a gun, and she's firing a warning shot, and I'm supposed to run. I sprint. What? Any idea? I mean, it's terrible, but what is the what?
She says my name like it's a gun, and she's firing a warning shot with his name.
And I'm supposed to run. I sprint. What? I'd like to think that his what is the what that you get
editor's
when you...
note.
Yeah, you know how like a stoned person or something, or when you say something and then they have to say it twice, and they agree with you at first, and then they think about it for a second. Oh, what? What?
Yeah, the double take. What? What?
wait, what?
You heard my gun. Run.
But I'm sprinting? Yeah.
How about this one? This is, again, everything is on its own line. She looks at me hoping I'll answer my own questions. I can't. Silence. 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 Loud, deafening silence. Oh. I want to cover my ears with my hands. I want to cover my heart with armor. Ebony, Darkness, Dementia, Raven Way thinks this is overwrought. And she was, obsessed with Gerard Way of My Chemical Romance. This is... unhealthy.
Same age, probably, roughly.
I suppose, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That would be a good twist too. Rachel, is writing fan fiction as Ebony.
Here's one of the final. I have just a couple more notes, but what if you wrote this? I honestly thought about this, and then you wrote it, and then you submitted it, and then you're like, obviously they'll get rid of that. But then it comes out, and then people read it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh shit! I should.
Yeah, this was it. Yeah, this was an inside joke to myself that I. Now
this is it. We stare at each other. Maybe if I stare at her enough, I'll get tired of staring at her. I want to taste her again. Maybe if I taste her enough, I'll get tired of tasting her. Like, what if you wrote that and then you had to stand behind, and then people were like, hey, I just got your book. I just want to go to this page and point this out. Are you proud of that? You standing behind that? You'd be like, look, man, I don't know how that got into the final thing. Yeah. Yes, I guess I wrote it. I didn't look. My thinking has evolved since then, okay?
You have to give the Rob Ford Ontario mayor defense. You have to say, no, that was just probably something I did in one of my drunken stupors.
Yes.
I wrote this book
in my defense, I was pretty coked up at the time.
He's the mayor of Toronto. Don't write in. I know Ontario does not have a mayor. But yeah, I don't know. It would not make me happy if I would feel worse reading it. You would have to. Maybe this is why you get your millions from writing that type of thing, and then you go and move and live on a ranch because no one else wants to associate with you if you get tired of tasting people. If you read that's a sentence that someone came up with. But
do you think that? I think maybe the editor read it and went like, "I'm leaving it in. You wrote it." I'm not going to do the work. You stand behind, defiantly leaving it in, like stat.
Yeah,
with a pencil.
Maybe this will be what gets those swine to give you a rating below 4 on Goodreads. We'll see, because I have been trying to get it down there this time, and they just keep eating it up. How about this? I grab her face, and she grabs my arms, and our guilt collides when our mouths collide. Mm-hmm. I still don't understand where all the guilt is coming from.
I don't get it either. There's nothing wrong, right?
Yeah, it would be guilt if he was doing it with Lisa. That would be quite guilty. She just moved here to do this. These are 17-year-olds in lust. And then how about this? My skin feels better with her touching it. My hair feels better with her hands in it. My mouth feels better with her tongue inside of it. I wish we could breathe like this, live like this. You'd pray for death within minutes. They made a horror movie called The Human Centipede where that happened, and it was awful. It was not something to aspire to.
Yeah, well, you make a good point. So nothing here is untoward. Like, they're just horny teenagers in love, right? I mean, yeah, it's unfortunate, I guess, or it's slightly.
I joke. It would be weird.
It's a little weird, but it's not The Graduate, Right. And as a reminder, The Graduate, that's what fuels the whole thing. Is like, this is terrible, and the discomfort and everything. This book doesn't even try to strive for that. It's just like, here's 2 horny teens. Here's another guy. She loves him.
His dad didn't even give him a how about that Rachel? That's. She's going to be moving in, only for 7 months, though, so good time to take advantage. Go off to flight school with Ian.
Bridget pointed out that my mom used to do something when I was in high school. She'd pick me up, and, you're in high school, like every girl, you're like, oh, boy, I like her too. And my mom would go, how about, she's cute, she's got a cute shape. Oh, like, damn it. Because you just stop, mom, stop. Why don't you? You should date her.
Just go have a girl, Mark.
Yes. Stop talking about these girls.
A cute shape, like you're putting it into one of those like blocks that where does the triangle go? I always sort of appreciated that though. Like you get the picture back from going to the spring formal, and my dad would be like, what the hell is that girl doing with you at this dance? I'm like, all right, well, that's that's like an assessment of quality there. It's like, I feel the same way. Like, why is this girl even talking to me?
You way outside of your league, son.
Yeah, give me that picture again. Yeah,
I'm
gonna keep that one. Yeah. So, and the chapter ends with this quite disturbing line.
Yeah.
I kiss her. It feels even better now that we have a plan. What is the plan? Oh, yeah, they're just going to keep doing it for 7 months and then stop. And,
yes.
We've got this, Rachel. She smiles in agreement. We've got this, Miles. I give her mouth the appreciation it deserves. I'm going to love you for 7 months, Rachel. That's how it ends.
I assumed that he hauled off and slugged her. I don't know. Like the appreciation. You know what your mouth deserves? A backhand. That's what it deserves.
$5 because that's all it's worth.
That's all you're good for. Okay. Oh, wow.
8 chapters of ugly love.
Woo.
Where it's going to go, I have no idea. All I know is one sentence that did not get submitted for real or fanfic, so maybe people will this time. But I can't wait for it to come up because I don't know where it happens in the book. But can we wrap things up with dumb sentences?
Dumb, 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 dumb sentence of the week.
All right, these are the dumb sentences of the week presented by our delightful Patreon supporters. I put a post up where I think in the post I referred to them as jackals, and some guy who I guess does not understand that that's a term of endearment was like, wow, this guy's even calling the listeners jackals. What a great podcast.
Term of endearment, sir.
But yeah, go check out the Patreon. We talked to Craig Finn of the Hold Steady to solve an Encyclopedia Brown mystery last week. It was awesome. It was
one of our biggest gets, I would say.
Absolutely, yeah. He's going out on tour now, so he was happy to talk to us, which was stunning to me.
Yes.
Anyway, dumb sentences of the week. There were many. Andrew submitted, as soon as my heart rate begins to calm down, it starts to scream at me. Her heart rate screamed at her? Daniel submitted, her top lip is slightly thinner than her bottom lip, but you can't tell until she talks. Daniel put forth that this is how everyone's lips are, and he Googled it to double check because he thought I was going insane. John submitted, like prose and love letters and lyrics cascading down the center of a page. Any sentence is going to look dumb when you read it that way, probably. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Chris submitted, he arches his dark, thick eyebrow, which I thought the same thing. Chris said, I'd like to think this attractive man has a luxurious monobrow he's been seductively arching.
Same thing for me. Like, wow, okay. He can do it, though. Seductively arch a monobrow.
Lindsay submitted, or that red as my heart hair that doesn't look like it's been tampered with since God created it specifically with her in mind. God is just like, leave my name out of this. Don and Henry and Todd and Catherine all submitted, Mom used to tell us if we put our eyes together, they would look just like a tree.
There we go.
Chris submitted, oh, here we go, your favorite. She says my name like it's a gun and she's firing a warning shot and I'm supposed to run. He says it's a triple run-on sentence plus one of the weirdest mixed metaphors in 372 history. His name is the gun, not the warning shot itself, and she's using his name to fire a warning shot. Harrison submitted, there are 2 bedrooms, so I take the one that isn't Corbin's and set my suitcase on top of the bed. He said, I'm glad she clarified I was ready for the classic sitcom blanket hogging / room splitting. Mike submitted the foot action. I'm pretty sure I'm leaving. Oh, no, this is the sandwich action. I'm pretty sure I'm leaving finger indentations on the bread, considering every single part of me, right down to my toes, just tensed. And Mike said, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you don't need to second guess whether you're gripping a sandwich hard enough to dent the bread. Alex submitted this. I send a picture and a message to Ian that says, she's going to have all my babies. Might be the first text ever submitted as a dumb sentence of the week.
Yeah.
Andrew submitted, it's attached to a nice face, which is attached to a nice head, which is attached to a nice body. A nice shape, perhaps?
A cute shape, yeah.
Oh, cute shape, got it. What is the hot dogs? Imagine the hot dog guy saying that.
Hot dogs. They got a nice shape. They're easy to something like they're easy to hold or something. And then,
yeah.
And then he's like pointedly, do you like them? And they cut to what's her name,
Zoe
Deschanel, and she goes, she kind of shakes her head, but she does like the circle thing. Like I don't know whether I like hot dogs or not.
You make fun, but I guess that's an honest reaction. Jeffrey submitted, I give her mouth the appreciation it deserves. He says, romance challenge. Next time either one of us goes to kiss our wife, tell her you're about to give her mouth the appreciation deserves and let us know how it goes.
God, we have so many of those. On
many challenges. That goes for anybody, too. Anyone out there. That might be the easiest one to pull off, although the most likely to result in major life changes going your way. Jay submitted, he continues to watch me in silence for the remainder of the elevator ride, and I stubbornly do the same. And Jay pointed out that so she watches herself in silence. He continues to watch me in silence, and I stubbornly do the same. Chap submitted, I don't care if you drink my juice, Tate. Chap has pointed out that I guess, finished the book. That becomes a thing. That has a payoff. Amy submitted, you're gonna fall in love with me, Rachel, cascading down the page. Ben submitted, a guy folding his laundry while flaunting his abs and being a pilot is seriously impressive. Valentari submitted, this is regarding Miles's mother. It's hard to defend your marriage when you're dead. Dave and Jan submitted, it's the saddest door I've ever had to close.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's Ebony Darkness. Janelle submitted, I might be smiling, pretending I'm not affected by those green eyes that I hope will one day be smiling just for me. And Janelle realized that she is smizing.
Oh, yes.
Model name at this point in time. Beth submitted, our disappointment runs to the floor and combines in a puddle of premature tears at our feet.
That she said he was one.
He was too late to have Shakespeare write his internal monologues and instead got Colleen Hoover. Poor kid. Brian submitted, I've always been a sucker for the quiet type of guys because the way our female lead has been banging her shoe against the table and panting like a cartoon wolf at this guy's jawline and abs when she first saw him passed out drunk has totally shown she's into the quiet type. Colby submitted, Miles doesn't even have a fruit bowl. Scott, David, and Jeff all submitted, I think I just pissed myself, he muttered.
Yeah, I figured that would be a popular one.
Amanda submitted, I look at her face and it's completely opposite from my mother's face. And Amanda said, so it's a photo negative? Does it go inward? Are the eyes and the mouth switched? We're free to imagine any way we want since the text does not elaborate. Nathan submitted, I have the sudden urge to take my credit card straight to the store and buy him some curtains, a new set of dishes, a few paintings, and maybe even a plant or two. And he says, all this needs is said the robot pimp disdainfully. Hayden submitted, he's in the familiar pair of slacks and a crisp white shirt unbuttoned and opened. This one needs context. It means that our author forgot to give the pilot an undershirt. Think of the pit stains, and he links to a forum where pilots discuss what kind of undershirts they wear. airlinepilotforums.com. So our listeners are doing some deep dives here
Sure.
to prove these sentences are dumb. And lastly, Loki submitted, instead, I discreetly take a picture of her from where I've seated. And they are wondering how you take a picture discreetly when she is on the other side of the room. But that's maybe the kids have figured that out these days. I reach into my purse to find a tube of chapstick, hoping to salvage my lips before they end up as weary looking as the rest of me.
Oh, wow. I missed
Weary
that
looking
one.
lips to get a lot more, to add to the lip talk.
The lip talk is off the charts.
And
I mean, all mine were covered, so which is good.
I think I just pissed myself.
Can we get that in isolation? Yeah, we got it. It's clean. All right, good. Put that on a soundboard.
On my
All right.
soundboard for when you need to call Xfinity next time. You can use that with the Arnold one as well.
Okay, that's fine, sir, but please focus. I'm going to be there in 10 minutes with the truck.
Who is your daddy and what does he do? From Kindergarten Cop to bring it all home with the Arnold references.
Yes, Arnold Dylan. Okay. Well, there you
Thank
go.
you,
I'm
everybody.
excited to keep going with this. The prose is obviously scintillating. And
What's Rachel going to do to him? Is she going to die in a car crash? How's pilot school going to do? Is Ian going to pass the pilot exam? Come on, Ian.
how sexy is Lisa in her red dress? She is his future wife. I don't know. These and more will be answered in the next episode of 372 pages. Thanks, everyone.